welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka the Name Butcher, aka Hey You Get Off My Lawn, aka Kris, you are being creepy again. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. If you're a first-time viewer, we do a lot of painting talk as well as a lot of what's under the sun, meaning no topics are barred. We'll talk about anything and everything. So, be warned. And of course, if you're not able to watch the show live, then you can also send your questions and comments and emails to Kris at Way of the Brush. It is in the description below, as well as a link to wayofthebrush.com, central hub of all this silliness. Has links for all the social medias, as well as Discord. Discord's been fantastic. We keep the conversation rolling there 24/7. And so it gets silly. Again, it's kind of like the show. Just be warned. Also at wayofthebrush.com is a link for t-shirts. Want to get yourself a shirt? Look like a connoisseur of all that is good and holy in this world. They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. And of course, if you purchase yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt and I will add it to the Monkey Shrine, which is also at wayofthebrush.com, because it's nice to put a name to the face and a face to the name. Also at wayofthebrush.com is a link for Patreon support. I do that just so I can indicate when I put the little card up there. Anyway, Patreon support. I'm independent these days, and so it's how we keep the channel rolling. Without your support, pretty much would just close up shop and, call it a day. So huge thank you to the patrons who currently support me. And if you're considering Patreon support, a huge thank you to you as well. I have varying tiers to support at. And of course, there's a few little perks associated with each of those tiers as well. And if you're not able to support monetarily, i.e. money, you can support by thumbing up the video, liking, commenting, subscribing, following, and sharing the video. All those things help the video as well. Big ones are like sharing and commenting, the interactions. So those things all help as well. And, all it takes is a couple clicks of a button and you're helping me out tremendously. Big thank you to Carl, aka Guymere Alfer, aka Beer and Blood Bowl. That's his YouTube channel. Check him out if you love yourself some beer, you love yourself some Blood Bowl. Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. We always take the time to thank Carl for taking the time out of his busy day to create the email jingles that play before the email segments of the show. And so always much love for Carl. And of course, speaking of love, big thank you to my baby brother, Evan, for creating the intro and outro music that plays for this show. Always much love. I've only recently started to include him in this usual spiel because, I don't know, I'm a bad brother and I keep forgetting to do it. So I'm reminding myself every week to say thank you to my baby brother, Evan. So we actually played a game of Talisman last night. He actually won. Son of a bitch. But anywho, enough griping about my losses. Who's joining us today? I can see Ebb and Flow. Sup, everybody? Kevin Cabal. Hello, happening hobbyists. Mark Hill. Hi, Kris. Hope you're well. I am well. I'm well. It's a nice day. It's a good day for actually trying to get some actual yard work and such done today. I've already busted out my barbecue. I've got my barbecue on my back steps, and the backyard's mostly cleaned up. And it's that time of year. We got to start busting out that grill. I've already used the grill. I cooked some hamburgers there a few days ago when it was still nice. It's been cold though. It's a little cool today, but the sun's warm, air is cool. It's my favorite kind of weather. I love it when it's like this. The sun is warm, the air is cool. It's my favorite. I wish it could be like that all the time. I like when it's cool. The sun, it's warm. You can put a jacket on. No, I can take it off and you'd still be comfortable. There's a bit of a cool air, I'm not crazy about when it's humid. When it's humid, it's oof. Humidity in the summer makes it hotter than it feels, and in the winter, it makes it colder than it feels. It just penetrates your clothing, gets right in, and just chills you to your bone, and it's just annoying. And so too much humidity just absolutely sucks. I'll say it right now. That's my official stance on it. It sucks. Humidity, too much humidity sucks. Not enough humidity. I don't know. I've never really lived in a dry climate. I've only lived in northern, southern Ontario, Quebec, and of course I live in Tennessee. Tennessee, man, that had some humidity there. Where are we? Sir Peanut Butter. Morning, Kris and Peeps. Morning, Sir Peanut Butter. REZIAL. Whoa. Just getting up. You're just getting up and turning this on? Sweet. Legion. Talisman is great. It is great. We were playing the digital version because he's still, he's like an 8-hour drive, 9-hour drive away from me. But we were played with an old friend of ours as well. We just, loaded up Discord. We jumped into Discord so we could all talk. And of course, we had the digital version of Talisman going. And the game does need some bug fixes because it crashed, I think, on us twice. So I don't know what that is, but either way, that team's got to get their ass together. Yeah, get their ass together. And, release a patch. Fix some of those boo-boos that are going on in that game. Because it's a fun game. And it's just, one of those games, just rolling dice and then just, screaming. And, I was picking on our other player. His online handle is Rook. So send everybody on Discord, if you've seen Rook, that's an old friend. And, I was at the Crown of Command. I was about to win the game, and then he cast a spell on me which took off my last life. I only had 1 life left because I went the craft way where I lost a bunch of lives, and I only had 1 life left, and he cast a spell on me, and I was like, son of a bitch. And then so I respawned as the same character, and so I just constantly just kept burning through my spells, and I just kept throwing them at him, and eventually he got wore down and he got taken out. Even though he was a little bit better than me, he was playing as the monk, I was playing as the sorcerer, and my brother was playing as the elf, and he was like a strength 12 elf. And I was like, dude, make a play for the center, man. Geez Louise, you don't need any more strength. You're plenty strong. You're just going to auto-kill everything that you go through for that final challenge. And anyway, that was a quick battle report of the whole Talisman game. That was 4 hours we played just to get that far. It was only the 3 of us. So next time we do it, though, I think I'm probably going to get some more of the monkeys in play. And so I think we'll probably have a whole big game going. And I think I may stream it. I don't know. There's a lot of cursing going on, and a lot of backstabbing, a lot of name calling. So I don't know if it's good family friendly entertainment. It's probably not. I'm willing to bet it's not family entertainment, but it's a fun time. But anyway, Old Man Logan over on Twitch. Hello, Kris and Monkeys. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you, Logan. REZIAL, sorry I interrupt your game chat. Was just seeing what was going on. Oh, when we were playing Talisman the other? Yeah. No worries, dude. I think next time we play, though, we're going to open it up. So I'm going to have everybody kind of, who wants to partake in playing Talisman. I think I'll do that. Because I think we can have, 6 players? I think we take 6 players. So I think we'll do that. Ishyab011. Hi, Kris, and happy Zombie Apocalypse Day to all. Is it the zombie apocalypse? Is it the apocalypse? Doesn't feel like it. I mean, the zombie apocalypse, I assumed we were in the midst of the zombie apocalypse, walking down the street, and it was just like Shaun of the Dead. Everybody's just kind of, walking around, I assumed we were already amidst the zombie apocalypse. It wasn't a virus. It was a digital device that made everybody zombies. Heretic Scott, happening monkeys, happening. Sean Thompson, wow, I finally made it to one of these. Finally? Lord Krabby, sup Matter Flowers, sup? Saleswoman from Hell, this is the shittiest apocalypse ever. I don't know. As apocalypse goes, I mean, it's a little lackluster. I don't know if it's the shittiest. Because, I mean, realistically, what are we comparing it to as far as other apocalypses are concerned, right? Especially, are we talking about apocalypses that have happened in the past? Are we talking about apocalypses that we've all lived through? Or, you know what I mean? So to claim that it's the shittiest, I think is a bit of a misnomer. It's definitely not what we were expecting, but that's typically the way life works is, we think the way something's going to, how the outcome is going to go, and it's completely different. So, yeah. It's hard to say, man. TH, Easter is arguably the zombiest of holidays. The zombiest of holidays, yeah. Because people are rising from the dead, is that what you're saying? Sean Thompson, live, that is, live. Oh, live, attending live. Right. Yeah, I don't know if I don't recall reading your name. I've read your emails, but not really your name. Ariel Shazinski, pretty apocalyptic for 60,000 people. Definitely. I'm not saying that that this is the greatest apocalypse ever, but I mean, like, to say it's the shittiest. We haven't experienced an event like this. This is unprecedented in our lifetime, in this century. And oh, Dougie's joining me now. And you know, yeah, but I mean, like, people gonna die. That's unfortunate, but it's also a fact of life. I mean, you know, like this whole thing with this virus, you know, if we had just left it as just go about our day, yeah, the death toll would be huge if we weren't, you know, staying indoors and, you know, self-distancing and, you know, taking precautions and stuff like that. The death toll would be huge across the world, huge. And, you know, but I mean, like, yeah, it's obviously no laughing matter about 60,000 people already dying. And I mean, that number is only going to keep going up. But it only goes up right now because of, you know, as people get tested, yeah, the numbers keep growing up. That's why when you see, like, these numbers of cases and the numbers of fatalities and the numbers of, you know, people recovering, you know, I mean, like, that's just raw data. That's not saying that it's getting worse. It's not saying it's getting better either, but, you know what I mean? It's just because as people keep getting tested that, you know, those numbers are just going to keep going up. So hopefully we get to the point where we stop seeing that number going up dramatically once, you know, a vast majority of people have been tested. Then we can say, okay, well, now once all these people have been tested and then we start seeing a resurgence, then that's when we got to get concerned again because, you know, you really have to step up, you know, efforts to, you know, find a better measure than just simply social distancing, right? And of course, it's also, you know, it's on you. It's a personal responsibility that you have to take to maintain social distancing, because one person can screw the whole deal up for everybody, right? So always bear that in mind as well. Ishya, okay, apocalypse. Light, you can still get pizza and beer. Right, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for a vast majority of people, yeah, this is a mild inconvenience. You still have internet. You still have power. You most likely still have food. You still have access to food. You know what I mean? Like, you still have all these things. You can still get into alcohol. You can still get, you know, weed in my area. You know what I mean? Like, other than just not going out into the public much, you know, it's not really terrible. Right? It's because apocalyptic would be that we're out of food, we're out of power. There's the telecommunications network is down. You know what I mean? There's nothing. All you're doing is relying on your neighbor beside you, but you can't even do that because you're supposed to maintain social distancing. So that would be really shitty. So as it is right now, you know, it's not quite as bad. Of course, it could always be that bad, but you never know. Heretic Scott, the possibility of people eating you would suck less. Exactly, right? It would be less of a suck. Sean Thompson, I live in the middle of nowhere, so I only have to brave the city once every few weeks. Lucky you. Yeah. Ariel Sosinski, it's no bubonic plague in the 1300s. I tell you what. You sound like Beetlejuice. I lived through the Black Plague, had a pretty good time during that. Sean Thompson, we brave the flu every year, so every year is the apocalypse. Yes, for some, yeah. Especially for those who are susceptible to just the flu. Oh, yeah, I'm sure, you know, you always have to be careful, right? Anybody with any kind of predisposition to any of these viruses that are still flying around. I mean, like SARS and all these other ones that are still flying around. They're still flying around. I mean, people talk about like H1N1. You know what I mean? That one's still flying around. I mean, like, coronavirus is this COVID-19. It's going to be here for years, you know, and it's a part of our paradigm today now. It's part of life now. We got to deal with it. Sean Thompson, the death rate is lower than the States because people who get it and have no or little effect never get reported. Right. Salesman for hell, this ain't no average flu. No, it's not, obviously. Sean Thompson, there is no such thing as average flu. Right. That's also true. Every flu is different. And, you know, getting vaccinated is definitely something you're going to want to do. And people who don't get vaccinated, it's a real harsh thing to say, but, you know, it is Darwinism at work. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, you know, Darwinism. And so, you know, I mean, especially in North America, I mean, this is a free country, so you can do what you want, right? If you want to, you know, endanger yourself, well, okay, as long as it doesn't endanger others. But unfortunately, during pandemics, you are endangering others. Realistically, right? You are endangering others. Like your decision not to get vaccinated, you're endangering other people because you're a carrier. So you never know. Things like the flu shot could become like a mandatory thing. Liam Fishwick. That's a fun last name. Fishwick. Not making fun of your name, dude. Just Fishwick. Kind of falls off the tongue. Fishwick. South Africa has banned the buying of alcohol and cigarettes, but we stocked up. Right. Well, I mean, like, alcohol, I mean, you kind of have to, because, I mean, there's so many people who are dependent on it, and if you took alcohol away, they would crush the healthcare system, so that's why alcohol stays out there. And cigarettes, well, cigarettes, not so much. You know, you could ban cigarettes, and you just have a lot of pissed off people, but otherwise, you know, like, alcohol dependency is not the same as, you know, tobacco dependency, right? And so, yeah. Sean Thompson, it will be interesting to see if the herd immunity has any sort of effect. Speculation, right? REZIAL, there are already businesses that have shut, never to reopen. Some people have lost livelihoods. It would be excellent if we could limit that problem as well. Of course. But I mean, you know, like when something closes down, hopefully, you know, they have the resources that they can try again, or the opportunities there. Once this, crisis is, you know, waning, that they start looking at things like, you know, relief bills for smaller businesses to get back up and going again. Big businesses, I was thinking about this one the other day, about, like, you know, the whole big business thing, like airlines, bailing out the airlines. And I'm not sure. I think I'm thinking that airlines, they probably can die. Now, mind you, though, for transatlantic Pacific type of flights and stuff like that, getting across continents, you know, having airplanes and stuff like that still flying the air, flying routes, sure. Moving materials, sure. But I mean, an airplane's not really that great for moving material anyway. A boat is still far superior for moving goods from, say, Asia to North America and North America to Europe, right? A boat is still the preferred method. And hauling people across the country, I think they should reinvest in the railways, right? Give us the bullet trains in North America. It wouldn't be as fast as, say, an airplane, but it would be less environmentally dangerous than an airplane, right? Save the airplanes for, you know, transatlantic Pacific type flights, moving materials, you know, like FedEx overnight delivery type shit, you know, that kind of BS. But like for moving people, you know, from Los Angeles to New York kind of thing, yeah, put them on a bullet train and, you know, reinvest in the infrastructure of trains for moving vast amounts of people and goods, right? That's where I stand on that. But I say let the airlines all die. Let them die. Because, I mean, like, first of all, airplanes, they use up tons of fuel. They don't carry that much weight in materials. And oftentimes, in their flight paths, they're often dumping fuel. And that's wasteful. You know what I mean? Like, it's a hugely wasteful process. And so, no. Whereas, like, trains, reinvesting in trains to move large amounts of people around again, I think is even better. Or let's push this fantasy even further. Why not bring back the airships, the Zeppelins? Let's bring back Zeppelins for air travel. Of course, Zeppelins are kind of crap anyway because they don't really carry that much. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you could make a gigantic ass Zeppelin to carry, a large amount of shit. But I don't know. Either way, holy crap! A whole bunch of comments are flying by now. I don't know. Bone Ripper, what's up? Kris and chat just jumped in. Hope I've not missed much. Nope. Ariel Sazinski, all Nurgle, all the time now. Yeah, it is. It's at the time of Nurgle. Sean Thompson, herd mentality is from lots of people getting it. That's not happening because we went full isolation, unlike we normally do with the flu. Right, but it's not a... this is the only countermeasure we have to deal with this, because otherwise, if everybody who is susceptible, which there are tons of people, especially in North America, who are really susceptible to this, it would crush the healthcare system, and the healthcare system would be overloaded with all the people from this virus. They wouldn't be able to treat anybody without in other virus, and you wouldn't be able to do surgeries and anything else, any of the other stuff that normally hospitals take care of. The healthcare system would just be absolutely crushed. And that's why we do this, is to prevent that part of the infrastructure that is not equipped to deal with this. This is the only countermeasure we have against that virus. So, yes, you could just have everybody run around like normal, but the healthcare system would get crushed because everybody who's susceptible, this thing spreads like wildfire somehow. And, yeah, this is the only move that people have. This is the only move that humanity has right now. And it's humanity. It's not a country to country thing. This is humanity we're talking about. Because this thing could get way worse. It could be way worse because people aren't having as many kids. There's a lot of elderly, and this really seems to be, targeting a large proportion of the demographic of people. So, yeah, it's serious. It's no joke. So if having a minor inconvenience, wah. Suck it up, deal with it. We're in it for the long haul, right? Because it's not about you. It's about the people next to you. Bone Ripper. I'll vote for you, Kris. What? Vote for me. For what? I'm not running for anything. When I was younger, there was three things people always told me that I should have gotten into. Was one, comedy. I don't know why. Probably because I was a class clown. Two was art, which I thought, I can go art because, I can express myself and speak my mind, and, I think I have ideas. And then three was politics. And, yeah, I was like, I don't know. Saleswoman from hell. Yeah, getting everyone infected isn't how herd immunity works. It's exact opposite. But Kris, would you sail to Warhammer World? If that was the way to get there, sure. I mean, if it was 2 weeks, sure. I'd really have to want to go there, though, to spend 2 weeks on a boat. I mean, it's not quite 2 weeks. I mean, I guess it all depends on what kind of boat you take, right? But, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, though. You keep the airlines going for that kind of traffic, for the people who absolutely have to go into other continents. I mean, And in the future, you never know. I mean, like, hospitals, airports could become like, semi-health facilities, because you could be getting tested, and you know what I mean? Like, it'll test everybody. Everybody gets a swab. And probably by the time you get to wherever your destination is, they know whether or not you're an infected, and if any other people on the plane are infected, and so now, boom, you gotta go. The other one I was I was kind of surprised at was the Apple Google announcement the other day about them producing a app that tracks COVID, people who have been infected. And I was like, I don't know. I can see people going like, no, I don't want fucking my information, like that. But I can see it being useful. But yeah, I don't know. Oof. Legion. I would sail to Warhammer World on a Zeppelin. A Zeppelin would be cool, wouldn't it? A Zeppelin? Just taking just a big fat airship across the water? I can't see that being bad, right? Especially like if it was, a really well designed type of airship where it was a big thing, it could fit, say, 100 people with, material, simple propeller driven, solar power along its skin so that it can fly, say, almost at cloud level and just zip along, and it gets there, maybe just as fast as a boat or maybe a bit faster. I don't know. It all depends, I guess. But yeah, I think a Zeppelin would be cool, wouldn't it? If you could take a Zeppelin over into, especially if it was like low cost, keeps the tickets down, and go to England for like $50 a ticket. I'd do that all the time. Eldari Lamborghini. Does one sail a Zeppelin or fly a Zeppelin? I don't know. I think it's fly. Because if you got propellers, you're being propelled through the air. Whereas sailing, you're relying on the currents. And you know what I mean? Sailing is like, you get the thing and, I know there's a term for it. I can't think of it. So I'm not going to make myself look any more dumb. I'm just going to say Zeppelin would be flying. I would assume Zeppelin's flying as opposed to sailing. But I get what you're saying. Grim, Zeppelins are great. The downside, besides speed and capacity, would be that they can't go up during really hot days. They can't go up during really hot days? They can't do hot days? Because the gas inside the bladder expands too much? Is that why? Well, I think they'd have to find something that was pretty neutral, right? Interesting. I've never heard that one, that they can't really go up very high. Interesting. Anyway. Sorry, I was thinking about it. I was like, why wouldn't, But yeah. Ariel Szynski. Anyway, what do you think of all these closures are going to do to miniatures industry? Honestly, Games Workshop will be hurt dramatically by this because right now there's an infrastructure in place. And that infrastructure costs money to maintain. And so I'd imagine their resources are going towards, maintaining that infrastructure, right? As far as, designing miniatures in the games and, stuff like that, not a huge issue because those people can work from home. They can continue designing. Work is done on the computer, so the work can continue on a computer, right? So I think, yeah, where a company like Games Workshop, it's going to hurt their bottom line is the infrastructure, the cost of all of the stores, all of the delivery, the boats, the cargo, you know what I mean? All that stuff. That's an expenditure, especially if this goes on for months, right? But as far as smaller places, some of the mom and pop type joints, I don't think it's too bad. I don't think they're racking in millions of dollars anyway, right? So, the only next one I can think of is like, say, Fantasy Flight or Privateer Press. Yeah, it can hurt them. But, I imagine for the most part, it's Games Workshop, I think, that's going to take the biggest hit from all this, I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe they have something in place for this kind of thing. I have no idea. No idea. I'm totally talking out my ass at this point. Joe Eshkabach, there he is. The virus is also perfectly designed. Attacks the elderly, the poor, people that smoke, plus is traveled by youth that have no clue they're infecting others. Yeah, it's not perfectly designed. I don't know about designed. But no more designed than any other virus. I don't really subscribe that this is a man-made thing. Because no, it's you're giving those institutions too much credit for the work that you think that they might be doing. Yes, they can be weaponized. Now, mind you, this can be weaponized. Because, I mean, going after, the indigenous populations of North America with something like this, where, a good deal of people are susceptible because they say, yeah, diabetics, lung, and, we fit a lot of the categories that are, at risk of this virus. And yeah, that was one of the concerns, is that they weaponize this thing. So, yeah. Where the hell am I? Aaron Seach. My only complaint about social distancing is the fact that I can't go down to my local game store to pick up hobby supplies. Now it's order online and wait. Right. Again, inconvenience. You know what I mean? Like, just an inconvenience. Saleswoman from hell. The only person I remember bringing up herd mentality was Boris Johnson and company. I don't know. Bone Ripper. It would be different to get everyone to slow down in life and hopefully live a little happier lives. Well, that's the thing, right? Is you can't make people be happy, because people are going to do what people are going to do, and telling people how to be happy and what will make them happy is false, because that's pushing your ideas on other people. And, I don't subscribe to that. I just subscribe to personal freedoms. And if a person wants to be an annoying, racist, asshole, they're free to do so, as long as it doesn't negatively impact other people. That's the only thing there, right? But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I'm a big advocate of freedom of speech. You should be able to spout off whatever comes into your mind. Now, mind you, though, I mean, I've talked about this before in the past about, crazy people and letting insanity spread. But, that's something to else to, kind of wade through. Ebb and flow at Kris. All I know is that sailing takes me away. Oh, jeez. Yeah, thanks, dog. She bumped right into me. She's just letting me know she's leaving. Ebb and flow. All I know is that sailing takes me away from where I'm going. Ugh. That was bad even by my standards. I denounce and reject myself. Grim. I went to 2 Zeppelin museums during my travels, hence my interest on them. I remember the hot day bit because my dad was going to go on one for his 50th birthday years ago, but it was during a heat wave, and so we were all grounded. It does indeed have to do with the gases, I think. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider that. I mean, I'm not really into Zeppelins. I like the idea of Zeppelins. And, I always like the whole, alternate dystopian type of timelines where, during the 20s and 30s, the idea of the Zeppelin was going to be, how people got around on this planet. And maybe it's an idea that, you have to, revisit, right? Even the idea of, like the multi-winged plane. Maybe we need to bring back those old-timey designs. It's kind of crazy talk, I realize, but, my dog. Now she's gasping or something. Maybe she's got COVID. Saleswoman from hell. All right, be sure the idea of herd mentality. We're still on herd mentality? Or immunity? Mentality. Herd mentality, definitely. But herd immunity? That I know and understand, no sense in this context, but okay. There he is, Beer and Blood Bowl. Evening, brother. Howdy, monkeys. Day 1 of my week off and have so much towel to paint. Whoop. So there he is, Beer and Blood Bowl. Check him out. Love yourself some beer. Love yourself some Blood Bowl. Beer and Blood Bowl. Saleswoman from hell makes no sense in it will kill like 1 million people before the effect of herd immunity kicks in. Yeah, I mean, like, this thing spreads like wildfire. And if you just let everybody go about their business, yeah, this thing's going to spread like mad. And the death toll would be 10 times. That's a conservative guess. 10 times, what we're currently experiencing. Or can experience. Because we have no idea how contagious it is. I mean, right now, we only from our small numbers are we saying, okay, well, yeah, it's affecting a large proportion of elderly and, everybody who's at risk. But that's just the beginning. Because if it keeps spreading, well then, you lose track of it if everybody's got it, and you don't know who's carrying different mutations of it, right? So no, you just, you can't do it. I mean, that's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. I mean, unless of course you just want to have everybody just die off. If you want to have the population just die off, you know, and I'm sure there's some racist dickheads out there who say, oh yeah, let all the black people, let all the Indians, and let all the, you know, the poor die off. And no, it's not going to be that way, because the virus isn't directed like that. We're seeing that. You think that's the way it's going to work, but it's not. Like we were just saying in the beginning, how the apocalypse, we had a vision of what the apocalypse was going to be like, and we're in something that is totally unprecedented. We've never experienced this. So we have no idea where to go from here. So everything's up for grabs. This is a time for good ideas. This is a time for good ideas. But I don't hear any good ideas. I don't hear anybody really making sense. I don't hear anybody, anywhere, on any side of any fence. Which is a dumb idea anyway, but anyway. REZIAL. I heard some of the industry guys discussing the pandemic and GW, and they said the company is still on track for an excellent year if we get back to work soonish. Sure. Like I said, I mean, a company like Games Workshop, they might have contingency plans for this kind of thing. You know, they have, when, the railways get shut down, that the shipping from, their manufacturing plants get shut down. And, they might have plans for these kinds of things to how they can insulate themselves from, financial disaster. They might. I don't know. It's speculation. And we can sit here and speculate till we're all blue in the face, but time will tell. Samuel Sanfratello. Hi, Kris, and all of the other monkeys. My job still requires us to work, which I'm finding really inconvenient for hobbying. Again, it's inconvenient times. These are inconvenient times. This is the inconvenient apocalypse, as an apocalypse would be, right? Because, we all had visions of, Mad Max, right? I was going to be out there like Lord Humongous with the hockey mask and, nothing but a barbarian leather Speedo. And, I'd have some gimp on a chain with a mohawk, but it isn't like that, it isn't that apocalypse. It's an inconvenient apocalypse. David Braunfeld, did you miss my question about the beginner airbrush? Should I get a Patriot 105? I like the Patriot 105. Now, little disclaimer, I've only ever really used Badger products as far as airbrushing is concerned. So I know that there are other companies out there, like Wata being the other one. So, if you have easier access to a Wata and you've, read about good entry level, Wata products, and it's easier to get your hands on, then by all means. Personally, I've used the Patriot 105 for many years. It's the brush I pretty much started on. Well, I shouldn't say that, because the brush I used to use is this one right here. This is a siphon feed. Where's my little container? Yeah. This is a siphon feed. This is essentially a Badger 350, I think is what this one is. It's a siphon feed. It's just a broad-ass nozzle. There's no control over airflow. Just one thing, it goes. No control really over the nozzle. You can control a bit of the flow just by turning this little doodad, but otherwise, that one I've used. And actually, that one I was doing my Phantom Titan on, and I was actually getting a bit of a blend going on with it, but not really. But the Patriot 105, I like. I like it. I recommend it as a good entry-level type of brush. It gets the nickname of being a good utility brush, meaning that you can do priming, you can do base coating, you can do a bit of highlighting with it. It's got a nice big cup. It's got a nice needle. Now, I would highly recommend picking up the high roller trigger for it, because especially if you've got bigger hands, it's much more comfortable to use the higher trigger, because basically you're like using it like this, as opposed to when you're using the default, you're more like this. And this kind of action, if you're doing a lot of airbrushing, your hand kind of cramps up like this. Whereas if you're like this, it's a bit more relaxed. And that's why I like the high roller. And I have all my brushes with high rollers. So, yeah. It's a good brush. I like it. Easy to maintain. Comes apart just fine to clean and everything like that. And yeah, you will have to take it apart from time to time to clean it. It's just part of the game. You have to maintain that brush. That's the biggest one, is whatever brush you pick up, learn it inside out as far as how it comes apart and how you should be cleaning it. That is really where you should be focusing your attention. I'd also recommend that if you are very serious about getting into airbrushing, look at airbrush artists who are using the airbrush as it's intended. Meaning, artists who work like in auto body, they're doing motorcycles, cars, that kind of stuff. And artists who are doing illustration, they're doing canvas and illustration boards, and they're using the airbrush like a brush. And those artists are the ones who have the best and most experience using that tool. Wargaming painters who, are just using the airbrush just like a small little spray gun. And, that it's a very limited approach to how an airbrush can be used. And, we don't use an airbrush to its full potential. Whereas an illustration artist, people in auto body and, those people have the greatest experience using that airbrush because that's what they're using all the time. We don't use the airbrush for everything. We don't dot the I's with an airbrush, right? At least I haven't seen anybody doing that. Has anybody done it? I don't know. Is anybody dotting the I with an airbrush? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Is anybody dotting the I's with an airbrush? Is anybody doing any script writing with an airbrush? Is anybody doing that? Veins? Well, you can get a veining list with the airbrush, yeah. Anywho, sorry. But yeah, the Patriot 105, yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I like it. It's a good brush. And it is, yeah. Sean Thompson says, yeah, Patriot 105 is like standard issue for painters. Definitely. If you're getting into airbrushing and Badger is, easier to get a hold of for you, or you're seeing good prices on it, Badger, he does specials all the time selling those brushes. So keep an eye on his Facebook page and stuff like that, because he does promo stuff all the time. So you can probably pick up a airbrush for a really good price. Because if you've shopped around any hobby stores and anything like that, you've seen what an airbrush costs, right? It's not cheap. It's not cheap. So, yeah. Banshun, coronavirus is nowhere near as lethal as the 1918 flu pandemic. Minuscule compared to that, even if it was let to rip through the population. Well, that's the thing, though, is that it was ripping through the population. And that's what we're avoiding now, is we're avoiding that level of infection. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to compare lethality, which it's kind of ridiculous anyway, but whatever. Sean Thompson, yikes, such a grim start to the stream. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the times we're in, man. It's the times we're in. And, there's a lot of disinformation out there and a lot of contradicting information. And, it's just stay informed. And, wherever you get your information, look at it with a critical eye. You know what I mean? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with fact-checking. And fact-checking through credible sources. Right? If you really want to stay informed on this shit, fact-check. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to do. The information is out there. Where am I? Aaron Seach, high roller trigger is where it's at, especially for us with the ogre hands. Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I got all my airbrushes. I've got high rollers on them because, and it was like only a couple bucks to pick up another trigger. And I was like, well, I've got like five. How many brushes do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 airbrushes, and I bought high rollers for all of them because, well, no, my Sotar, I left with a small one just because I wanted that one to be a little bit more pencil-like. I don't use my Sotar that often, but yeah. Oh, and I also put all the quick release, because, yeah, this is the other one too. The quick release valve, and pick up an air hose that has that quick release. Just because if you have multiple brushes on the go, yeah, you can just slap it in, bang, ready to go. There you go. It's a bit of ASMR for y'all. Everybody's like, man, that blew up my ears, man. Because I'm sure on the mic it probably went. Kevin Cabal, based on your recommendations, I bought a Patriot 105 and a Sotar 2020, and hell yes, the High Roller is worth getting. I love them both. Yeah, I highly recommend the now they also have the Extreme Patriot, which already comes with the High Roller. So it's like the Patriot 105, but it has a little control valve under the nozzle, which I've not really found that much use for so far. But otherwise, it's a really great brush. It's pretty much like the Patriot, but get that extra little feature of the control valve, and it already comes with the High Roller trigger. There's another bell with that. What is the other bell? Sorry, I'm looking at the brush to see if I can figure out what the other thing of it was, but I can't think of it. Anyway. REZIAL, Badgers are pretty awesome. I bought 3. Yeah. I like Badger. I haven't used a Wada, so I can't say a Badger is superior to a Wada. But I can. But I'm not. So it's really it's the same thing with like paints, right? People ask, well, what kind of paint should I be getting for for this hobby and such? And I often recommend is whatever is easiest to get a hold of. Now, oftentimes that is Citadel, because if you're going to the hobby shop and you're picking up Space Marines, you might as well pick up the paints that color match to the books if you're playing the game. And like there's all like people shit on Citadel paints all the time, but I don't know, that's just the usual kind of GW hate. I don't get these kind of rationalizations, but whatever. Because it's just paint. Paint's just paint. Yeah, it's a little heavier bodied, but big whoop. But it's more what's available. Now, if in your area Vallejo was everywhere and Citadel was rare, then yeah, I would recommend Vallejo. Like it's whatever's available in your area that's easy to get a hold of, is good priced. That's good English there, good priced, and is going to keep you painting. Is really the big one. Whatever is going to keep you painting and make you happy and keep you happy, because water-based acrylic paint is just that. It's water-based acrylic paint. You know what I mean? Like it's just fucking paint, man. There's nothing special about it. It's not imbued with any kind of magical powers. Same with the brushes. Brushes is the same goddamn thing. But these are discussions we always end up having because there are people who are coming into this hobby at different stages, and people who are just getting into it, and there's a lot of information out there and it gets really confusing. And so I like to provide a bit more of a level-headed approach to it, and not say, well, you should be getting this and you should be getting that. I'm just saying whatever's within your budget and is readily available in your area, that's probably what you should be going for. That's all. Sean Thompson, I also have a Renegade Chrome. Wasn't happy as with that one. You weren't happy with the Renegade Chrome? I like the Renegade Chrome. I use that all the time. That's my accurate brush. REZIAL, I heard an Independent Characters episode a while back where they talked about superfine airbrush work because of CK Studio classes. Alan, I'm not going to say that name. Tejada? I don't know. Said he was painting individual fingers. Sure. What scale of hands though? If a person's painting individual fingers, what scale is the model? Is it 54 mil? Is it bigger? Is it 28 mil? And painting individual fingers. Even like on a Space Marine, painting the individual fingers. Sure, you just mask it off. Paint the fingers, right? With airbrushing, it's really all about masking. Airbrushing, that's the big one, is masking. But yeah, I mean, but doing script, can you write script with an airbrush? Can you dot that I with an airbrush? Can you do any of the precise stuff that you can think of for miniature painting? Can you do that with an airbrush? That's my question. If there is, I want to see examples of it. If you know of it, I mean, don't give me I heard about this. Let me see it. Point me to it. Don't give me third party fucking information here. Give me the right from the horse's mouth. Fumble. I just got myself first airbrush like the other day, an Iwata Highline HPBH. Lots of fun to play with and a huge amount of things to learn. Definitely. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, airbrushing. Yeah, it's not just as simple as go buy an airbrush and you can do all this. Like, there's a lot of practice as well. You know. So yeah. But yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Dave Dog or Dave Dooge. 28 days later here in Madrid, Spain. Literally 28 days. Very easy to get paints in Madrid, Spain. Not P3 though. Yeah, because P3 I think is like, it's Privateer Press, which is an American company. I don't know if P3 is made in North America though. Because I was under the impression that the P3 paints were done by the same company that used to do Games Workshop paints, which is Cote d'Arms, which I thought was in Spain. Sean Thompson, has anyone tried Harder and Steinbeck airbrush? I heard those are really good as well. Yeah. I'm sure all the airbrushes are fine. They're all pretty comparable. Same with like regular paintbrushes. You know, they're all pretty comparable. I mean, if you're buying brushes that were designed for detail watercolor brushes, which is the kind of brushes that we use for miniature painting, yeah, they're all going to be pretty comparable. And yes, even the synthetics are, you know, all right. I don't really care for the synthetics, but it's when you get into glazing that you really kind of develop a preference for the sable. Dave Dooge. I wouldn't mind some kind of tool in which which can cut, say, GW lead belcher to have their finer metal bits in it, like, say, Vallejo Metal Color. Okay. The Vallejo Metal Color, though. Is that one the alcohol-based one? Is that the one? Because, I mean, that's a different process. Daniel Jefferson. Shit on GW paints. It's made with shit. Some of them are not bad. I have a huge beef with the white, which ends up splitting and going gray, and the metallics. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of metallics, but the thing is, though, I was doing, I was in these tutorials, the fresh tips I did on this guy, doing the bronze color scheme on the Stormcast. Oh, by the way, people, he's done. He's all done now. Spoiler. The videos are going up for Patreons right now. And I had it was done with warp lock bronze, and I laid it on top. But what I had done was I had laid out a primer of gloss black. I used Stynylrez gloss black, applied it by airbrush, and applied it to the model. And you can see the model is pretty shiny, right? And I laid the metallic on top of this, and I have become a really big fan of this gloss black from Stynylrez because, for one, it lays on nice and smooth. Two, it dries pretty darn quickly. And because I've never really had that, well, I've never used a gloss black from Vallejo, but Vallejo surface primers, I always found like the gray, it always felt still a little cool to touch after about 15 minutes, which tells me that it's kind of damp still. And whereas with the Stynylrez, yeah, it goes on 10-15 minutes and it's dry and you can start painting on top of it. So anyway, laying down GW Warplock bronze on top of that gloss black, and you'll see it in the video when I lay it on the model, and it's nice and glistening, and it's not the usual application. It actually looks a bit more like when you take, like Retributor armor spray. If you've ever used Retributor armor. Now, I've not used lead belcher on bare plastic though. But I've used Retributor spray on bare plastic, and it looks great. It looks fantastic on the surface. It's nice and shiny and everything like that. But again, that's a different paint because that's a spray. I don't know if it's an enamel, but it's not like they just take GW paint and put it into a spray can. I don't think so anyway. It's a different paint. But yeah, when you lay that on just bare plastic and just use it like a primer, and it looks fantastic on a model. And when I laid that gloss black down and put Warp Lock Bronze on top of it, the Warp Lock Bronze never looked better to my eye. And it looked nice and shiny the way I like my metallics, because these days I really like a nice shiny glistening metallic that just refracts all the light all over the place, right? And so I really like it. I love metallic paints. Metallic paints are awesome. Awesome. Anyway. Liam Fishwick, talking about paint companies, have you seen that Army Painter has stopped making paint and are now bottling hand sanitizer in local schools, or for local schools? Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, sales have stopped for their paint. I mean, other than everybody's buying it online, I suppose, and making hand sanitizer. Sure. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to do their part, right? And if you have the means, then you probably should do something, right? Sean Thompson, AK Interactive is one of my favorites. Yeah, AK is pretty cool. Grim, it seems there's a city in Germany that is currently using Zeppelins to see how many people are keeping to help monitor the area during the pandemic. Interesting. I hadn't heard that one. REZIAL, Aiden was painting Space Marine fingers and without masking. Well, again, like I said, send me pictures, send me links. I mean, just telling me it is not helping me. But again, like I said, doing script, doing eyeballs, the fine, precise things, doing fingers. Yeah, you can paint a finger with a fucking large ass brush like that. I mean, like, send me links. You're not convincing me of anything. You got to send me the info. You got to. You know what I mean? I don't take people's word for things. I just said that earlier. Like, don't go fact check your sources. Grim, also on the topic, if I happen to do anything bigger than a dune crawler, like a night one day, perhaps, then learning to use an airbrush seems like a good idea. Oh, definitely. I mean, you can still do a night by brush, just get larger brushes, right? Get yourself a nice little 1-inch brush and you can cover all that surface, you don't need an airbrush. You don't need an airbrush. But it makes life a lot easier. Because basically with an airbrush, you can lay a nice smooth base coat on top. Well, you can prime easily. You can base coat, especially if you're used to rattle can priming. And then once you get an airbrush and you buy the primers, man, you can, prime indoors. And, you're good to go. You're priming all year long, right? You're a priming machine by that standing. So, but yeah, I mean, you don't need an airbrush, but it's super handy to have one. Aaron Seach, Kris, have you done any gaming on Tabletop Simulator? No, I've seen a few videos. I haven't really watched them, but I've seen Tabletop Simulator, and it's not officially endorsed for 40K or anything like that. And so it seems like a lot of people who are putting up models, stuff like that. I don't know. I haven't seen it how how it plays, if it's glitchy at all or anything like that. But otherwise, yeah. And again, wargaming, it is a social thing, right? And the Tabletop Simulator, I mean, they've got to be, they've had to have seen a huge spike in their downloads, right? And they're definitely, I mean, what if they're charging it? I don't know. Does it cost to buy Tabletop Simulator? I don't even know. I've seen it on Steam. I think it's on my watch list for Steam. I don't know if you have to pay for it though. But anyway, Glitterhoof. It's a fun name. Approaching 1 month of quarantine-induced hobbying. Somehow, my pile of plastic shame has grown rather than shrink. Yeah, that's possible. My pile of plastic shame. That's not a shame, but I definitely have to kick myself in the ass every time I look over and I'm like, oh, I got to get that done. But I also have a bunch of projects on my desk right now that, need to get done. And yeah, got to get shit done. Got to get her done. REZIAL, it was a podcast. I really don't think the guy was lying, so I didn't ever fact check him. Don't worry about it if you don't like the example. Again, like, yeah, I mean, like if they're just talking about it, well, I mean, then you can still post pictures, because I'm sure they can still post pictures so that people can see, okay, well, this is what he was talking about, and here's what he was doing. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be that. I mean, otherwise, I can sit here and make up whatever. I mean, I can say, yeah, you can totally do an eyeball with an airbrush. You can get total, make it look realistic. But, I mean, you guys are going to want a demonstration. You're going to want to see how it's done, what the end result is, right? I can just sit here and talk, endlessly about shit, but, I mean, you people are going to want to see shit, right? So, you got to deliver. You got to deliver. Ebb and flow. At Kris, proper journalism 101. If your mother tells you that she loves you, check your sources. Right, exactly. If somebody said, yeah, your mom loves you, it's like, I don't know, Mom, did you say you love me? Yeah, okay, great. Nothing wrong with that. Get it right from the horse's mouth, for God's sakes. Get it from the horse's mouth. Heretic Scott, 6 p.m., time to start drinking. Is it time? It is. Well, it's 1 o'clock for me. And I've got no cheer going on. We went off the rails last time I had some cheer in my coffee. So, yeah, we're staying okay today. I can't believe we're already an hour into this. Good God. Daniel Jefferson, have you received any further news on your Bandai Space Marine? I'm assuming that the release is being delayed. I would assume that too. Apparently, the crates coming out of manufacturing have landed in North America. What is happening now? I have no idea. I wait and I wait and I wait. Post whatever waiting meme you want. That's me waiting for my Space Marine. Because I want him. I don't know if I'll repaint it though. I might weather it. I've seen pictures of what the completed model looks like, or model action figure, and I'm not crazy about the paint job. So it's hard to say. I might paint it. If he comes apart easily, I might paint it. But then that's another frickin' project on my to-do pile. So I don't know. Sean Thompson, TT Simulator isn't free, but as far as I know, the mods are. Right, that's so they can't get sued. Yeah. Aaron Seach, you do have to pay for Tabletop Simulator. I believe it's on sale right now. I was considering playing Relic Blade via TTS. Cool. Yeah. Maybe. Because, yeah, I've been wanting to do some Relic Blade. I still gotta get my faction put together. Or, well, they're all together. I just gotta get them painted. Saleswoman from Hell, I got some Japanese people on my Twitter, and it seems they got their Primaris Gundams. They got theirs? Really? So, folks in Japan already got theirs? Son of a bitch. I want mine. I want my Space Marine. Heretic Scott, anyone like Copperhead Gin and the Alchemist Droppers? They are 90% volume. Oof. Put some hair in your chest. REZIAL, LOL, I was just responding to you asking if we had heard of detail work. Sorry I disappointed. No, but what I'm saying though is like eyeballs. Writing script with an airbrush. That's what I'm talking about. Painting fingers and such. I mean, yeah, it is very delicate, but I mean, if you're masking whatever, or even just spraying at an angle, I mean, like, yeah, it can be done. I mean, but again, it all depends on what scale the miniature model is as well, because I know like a lot of painters out there who are doing really great work out there, they're working on larger scale models. They're working on like the 54 mils, right? 75 mils. So, what scale was the model is the other question. C.W. Kreiner. Is that how we say it? C.W. Kreiner? Anyway, when have we gone off the rails? Right, like when? Come on. When has this show ever gone off the rails? all the time. Daniel Jefferson, I'm bringing some cheer, some honey beer. Ooh. Now you're talking my language. Actually, I don't drink that much beer these days, but I go for honey beer. I can go for beer right now, actually, but now I want a beer. I don't have any beer in the house. I've got hard stuff, but again, like I said, we went off the rails pretty fast last time. So was that just last week? I think that was just last week. Dave Doug, I've got Tabletop Simulator, but on Steam only. I think it is only Steam, isn't it? I've seen people play Warhammer 40k on it, but don't know how. I doubt that all the rules are incorporated into it, so it's probably most a visual tool to share the state of the game. Yeah, as far as I understood Tabletop Simulator, it's just a virtual environment, and you import your assets. And so if you want the game cards, you got to import your game cards. If you want your models, you import your models. You already have to know how to play the game. I assumed it was as simple as, dragging your objects into place, and you know what I mean? Like, I assumed it was that. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass at that point. David Brunfeld, your Space Marine is coming when you do pile is less than 10% left. Well, you don't even know what percentage of my to-do pile is. I'm already there. I'm there. Saleswoman from Hell. Yeah, everything is manual in the indie. You literally just have 3D pieces for moving the piece, and that's it. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. Like, it's just a virtual environment, and yeah, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a place for it, obviously. Like now. Dave Doug. My new Orc and Space Wolf stuff is sat in a dark warehouse in England somewhere. Yeah, everybody's stuff sitting in England, or in the warehouse in England. REZIAL, there's already a review of that Primaris figure up on YouTube. The review is not promising, but I recommend watching it. Okay, well, send me links. I don't even know. Aaron Seach. And I mean, like, the review is not promising. I mean, it doesn't matter. I already bought it. It's coming. So, a review of a product that I've already purchased, it's not going to sway me in the slightest. I mean, again, I've already bought it. It was something I was going to buy regardless. So I don't know, I don't know what the point, but send me the link of the review. REZIAL, why am I always telling you to send me links? Just send me the damn links. If you know something that I'm going to be interested in, I want to see, just send me the damn link. Aaron Seach, the real question is, when haven't we gone off the rails? Yeah, exactly. When haven't we gone off? Today. I think today we're staying pretty much on topic. I mean, we're talking about the pandemic, but I mean, it's something that's affecting every single person on this planet. Is there anybody that is not affected by this pandemic? Is there anybody? Because I think everybody is. It definitely can kill everybody. So who knows? G squared. It's after one time for email. Time for an email? It is. It's time for an email. Saleswoman from Hell. Oh, is that box out yet? I don't know. Did anybody? Yeah, I've seen people painting up Gazgul, so people got it. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway. Sean Thompson, to play 40k on Tabletop Simulator, you need to find the army mod for the pieces and the mod for actually tabletop with terrain. Interesting. REZIAL episode whatever. REZIAL triggers Kris all day. You're not triggering me, dude, but just send me the damn links. Heretic Scott, episode 292. Send me the damn link, REZIAL. Yeah, just, god damn it, man. Just send me the links. Ghost Starman Deluxe. To be fair, COVID probably isn't affecting the Amish that badly. We don't know, because they're not going to get tested, and there's no, there's no internet to them, so communication with them is pretty sparse, right? But I had seen that it was even affecting people in the Amazon forest. People who are isolated in those goddamn jungles. And the virus has already gotten to them people. Which I'm sure there's a lot of parties who aren't too choked up about that. Because, if it runs rampant amongst them. and they die off, yeah, there's gonna be a whole bunch of people swooping in to, you know, claim their bones. REZIAL, I'll link it to you on Discord, Kris. It's probably more for those of us that didn't buy it to feel better about ourselves. LOL. Oh, the review of the Space Marine. I was wondering what the fuck. David Braun, I like that name for the episode. Yeah, send me the link. Send me the damn link, REZIAL. You know what? Yeah, just because David said he liked the title, that's the title. That's the show name. Just send me the link. The damn link, REZIAL. There we go. Just send me the damn link. Where am I here? How's everything going? Everything's going great. Job is left nut. Episode 292. Send the links or you get the hose. You get the hose again. Saleswoman from hell. Amish bones. Did I miss something? Are Amish bones expensive? No. God. Just rewind. Just rewind the stream, man. Just rewind. Amish bones. No, I was talking about the people in the Amazon. The COVID-19 has gotten to those people. There's apparently cases amongst the people who live in the jungle, who are isolated, but apparently it's gotten to them. And so, yes. And I'm sure there's people in the background rubbing their hands, just waiting for all them people to die off. This is the perfect thing. Again, this is the idea of it getting weaponized, you know? Yeah, Amazon. Yeah, the Amazon. I was talking about the Amish, but I was talking about the Amazon. In the same breath, I was talking about the Amish and Amazon. Because those are people who are not in touch with the current world. And so we don't know what's going on with them, right? But, again, goes back to the point of it's affecting everybody on this planet. Let's do an email. What? If you're wearing headphones, turn them up or down. Email time. Big email time. This one is from our good buddy TH. Hey Kris, just a quick work in progress update for the Blood Bowl team I'm working on. The team is Chaos Renegade, a mix of Marauder and Outcast from other teams. GW haven't made models for them, so I'm starting to make my own. For Chaos, I went with the black, red, and white colors of the Atlanta Falcons. Since this is my 9th team in NFL colors, I've had to twist the scheme a little to avoid overlaps with the other teams. Thus, I went with a cream white instead of cold white. That would probably have brought the Falcons reference home a little better. Do they look like the Falcons? Not really, but I think people will get it within context. I give you the first half of the Wastelanta Fowls. Let me know what you think. Best, TH. And there's no pictures. So, because now with pics. Right, here we go. All right. So here are the Chaos team. That's pretty cool. I like the head swaps and such. Yeah, I think more red, right? For more of a Atlanta Falcons. I guess really it's more of a question of like which iteration of the uniform you want. But like for me, Atlanta Falcons, I always think predominantly red. But I guess because you probably already have the 49ers. And so yeah. It is kind of tough. I like the conversions though. Those are really cool. I like the conversions, dude. It's really cool. The team looks great. Um, yeah, the color scheme. Yeah, it doesn't quite scream to me Atlanta Falcons. I mean, that one looks more like they're away. Um, let's see here. Yeah, that one. Where's that? What picture's that one there? Because they're predominantly black. Yeah, it looks more like they're alternate. Yeah. Whereas, like, yeah, the red and white pants. That's what I think of with the Atlanta Falcons. But I mean, they even have a black and gray with a red. But that would look like Raiders on miniatures, right? Yeah. Yeah, but with the Atlanta Falcons, yeah, I always think of red jersey, white pants. That's the look I always think of with the Atlanta. But either way, very cool. Thank you, TH, for sending that in. Awesome stuff. And I look forward to more. More. This one is from our good buddy, the Heretic Scott. Hey, Kris. Just a small one for you. This was an old metal heavy destroyer in pretty poor condition. The front of the gun was missing, so I gave it a new heavy Gauss cannon and cleaned it up a bit. The black carapace was airbrushed with some new Vallejo air paints I got recently, keeping the whole Lost Dynasty look with some weathering and uniquer colors? Uniquer colors? Uniqueer? CNC, always appreciated. Lewis, aka Heretic Scott. And so let's have a look at that destroyer. I like it. I think the the little doodads over the engine nozzles, I think those could get color as well. It doesn't have to be all of them, but like that, it's got that little nub on the top of it. It looks like it, because it's separate, right? It's like two halves, the destroyer body. Anyway, I dig it, and I initially saw this, and I didn't think that this wasn't the plastic one, but this is the pewter one, right? Because that arm is pewter, the gun is pewter, and the torso is pewter, but the body is plastic, right? Something like that. Yeah, I think the little engine flaps, the little covers on top of those nozzles, I think those can get color as well. I don't know. It's up to you. It's however you envision, or maybe like one or two. You know how like you have like the odd yellow bit, yeah, like on his shoulder there, and like one of those nozzles could get like covering in yellow and look like a replacement, right? But I do really like the overall vibe of this. He's got the shoulder cannon. I thought that's his spine. Is that a shoulder cannon? I like the weathering, especially on the body. That looks cool. On big flat areas like that, the weathering looks great, but it's also a point where you could also, oh man, like, you know how like you kind of have a bit of a Star Wars type vibe with this kind of army you're doing, because that's the first thing I get with this army that you're doing. It kind of feels like a Boba Fett type of thing, right? And looking at that all that space you have on the carapace, what if you did like kind of just like a chevron, a worn out chevron on the back of the carapace, or maybe a worn out Necron design, right? Like it looks like an icon just on one side, in like say a bold white, or whatever, right? Even if it fits within your color scheme. I think that would be cool, because it's a lot of area back there, and same with like the shoulder pads. They also have lots of area on the shoulder pad, and I think having like the band of color, like a chevron or something, I think would be really cool in those instances, especially for like identifying, say, like your unit leader, having those kind of markings, and then say the rest of the unit doesn't have it, or has something similar, or smaller version of it, or whatever, right? You get my meaning here, I think. But very, very cool. I like it. I think just those little engine nozzle thingies, I think like one or two of them could get some color. You know, yeah, that's about it. That's all the suggestions. Otherwise, I think it looks great. I look forward to more from you. And yeah, very, very cool. Heretic Scott. Oops, that was a typo. Yeah. I think the arm and shoulder, and the shoulder, and I'll have a little shoulder cannon or whatever it is is metal. Oh, I thought that was the spine. It looks like you have it like a shoulder gun, but I think it's the spine, isn't it? Isn't that supposed to fit in that spine? I don't know. It's been a long time since I put Necrons together. I was actually thinking about doing a Necron model just for something different, because I have like I have enough to do like a Necron army, and which I'm not going to do. I have no interest in doing Necrons, but I do have one of the croissants, and I had an idea for doing one, and so I was thinking about maybe doing croissant, something special, something fun, something mostly airbrushed. Now the thing is though, is I currently don't have a good spot to do a lot of airbrushing. That's why you don't see a lot of my videos. I don't do a lot of airbrushing, because right now, just the way my setup is, I don't want to do a lot of airbrushing, because airbrushing gets like really into the air if I don't have any kind of air hood or anything like that. So I need to pick up an air hood. There's one I've been looking at on Amazon. It's the kind of common one that a lot of people get. I was thinking about picking one of those up, and I was thinking about situating it like right here on my side here. I have my window right there, so I can just, hop out and, do it like that, right? That's what I was thinking. I probably should just quit pussyfooting around on it and just pick one up. But especially with all this, I don't know when I'll get it. I don't want to get too fired up about a project and, not do it. Anyway, Heretic Scott. It's part of the Heavy Destroyer upgrade kit. Yeah. Salesman from Hell. The Necron Codex had some info about rankings and glyphs. Should be worth checking it out at least. Yeah, well, there's also transfers as well. I don't know how comfortable you are with transfers, but I mean, you can use the transfer just like, a guide. You can lay that transfer down, paint on top of it, paint whatever colors you want on top of it, and then seal it. And then, you can even weather it at that point as well. You just take some of that base color and you just touch the edges, and, you make the edges of that decal or transfer or whatever you've painted there. It can also be like a pure chevron, series of chevrons, or something like you know what I mean? Just especially because like I'm just thinking of those chevron things because I'm thinking of like Boba Fett, because that's what that reminds me of, that whole parts, and it's all weathered, and it looks like Boba Fett, and I think it's a great idea, don't get me wrong, and I think you should continue to run with it, because I'm sure a whole army painted up like that will look kick-ass. And yeah, keep going, Lewis. I don't mean to be an asshole, but it's just too funny to me. What time are we at here? Oh man, we got plenty of time. I've got a few more emails to get through, so let's do another email. This is from our good buddy Scott. Hey man, this is actually a failed attempt at painting realistic, very dark skin. I think the look works for abnormal Goliaths, so I kept it. I'll try the skin again. Apparently adding turquoise helps make the skin look more reflective, and I'll have to goof around with that. That's the average of working on sci-fi and fantasy stuff where mistakes aren't as trash looking as they could be in a realistic setting. Fire away any thoughts. Have a good one. And so let's have a look at Scott's dark skin Goliath. I like the tone. What did he say he was using for this? The highlighting? Sorry, I gotta go back here. What did he say he was using for the highlighting? Holy shit. Turquoise. Yeah. The word escaped me. So adding turquoise into the skin for black. Sure. It makes the armor, or it makes like the model feel very heavy. wrong with that. But I think, like, you know, like the silvers and other areas, you know, the weapons, you can bring the color up a bit more. Honestly, I don't know if I would have gone with a green mohawk either. I'd probably go with something else. But as far as adding turquoise to the black skin, is that starting off like with a pure black, or were you working with a brown and adding the turquoise? What was the process you were doing for? Because like going for that really black skin and going the turquoise route, it would give you almost that that blue black look. Now you see in some photographs of really dark skin, and it almost looks that way. And is that what you were kind of going for? Where, in which case, I think you have to go with very minimal highlights. You don't go with very broad highlights because then you see too much of that turquoise, right? So, yeah, I think that's what it is. It's kind of like on the face where you have the very, very, very minimal highlights on the brow and on the tip of the nose and those kind of things. I think that's where you want most of your color transition. It's kind of like when you're doing like the black synth suits, like on the Assassins, that kind of thing where you have that predominantly black, where you have a very fast transition to highlight tones in a small area. Yeah, things like the straps get lost. I like the weathering on the red, the chipping and such. I really like that. Yeah, I feel like the weapons could come up a bit more, like as far as the brighter tones, a bit more of that. And I don't know with like the black knee pads or the darker knee pads if I'd have went with the blue. And same with the medals. I don't know if I'd have went with a blue, because then it feels a bit like the skin. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where it is. You just gotta kind of pick and choose your battles. For really dark skin like this, I would have probably stayed within the realm of dark browns, black to dark browns. See here, this looks really good. I like the blue, and the skin doesn't feel too blue as far as turquoise is concerned on the skin here. Here's just the way that photograph looked. Yeah, see here, like the skin and the pants and everything like that, it feels all right. Yeah, I don't know if I'd have went with the green hair. I think that's my only real criticism is the green hair. I don't know if I'd have went with green hair. Otherwise, I think the skin looks good. I guess it was that first initial picture. It was kind of just, throwing my view off a bit. Everything felt a little bit uniform. Same with like the blue on the base. I don't know if I'm crazy about that. But really fantastic work. I like the painting. Yeah. Yeah, I think what it is on this picture, I think it was the white balance was throwing my view off a bit. But very, very cool, Scott. Thank you. Yeah, I think my only criticism would be is that hair, because the red of the armor looks great. The overall vibe. Now, like I said, like looking at the back, where there's a lot of blue, the red doesn't feel out of place. And the skin against like the elbow pads and the pants, it doesn't feel out of, I don't feel like they're bad or anything like that, or it doesn't work. The only thing for me that I'm not super, jazzed about is the hair. It's the color of the hair, the color choice of the hair. How it's highlighted is fine, but I don't think green was the color to use there. And that's it. And maybe the weapons come up a bit. But yeah, really fantastic stuff, Scott. Looks really awesome. Thanks for sending that in. Very, very cool. Very, 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 very. Any comments? have I seen or missed? REZIAL. It's an overall dark model, but I like the paint job and a lot of good technique. Oh, well, Scott's technique is really great. I like Scott's technique as far as how he paints things. He's obviously spent a lot of time, learning different things, so it's evident in his pieces that he shows us. REZIAL, the more angles I see, the more I like it. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what that first one, I think it was the white balance of that picture, I think was throwing the eye off, because all the other pictures, that the color combination didn't seem as, odd. Like that first picture, it seemed really dark, whereas the other ones, it didn't seem quite as dark. So, but yeah. Dr. Zentos, I'm late as heck here, but I'm here now. Late as heck here, but I'm here now. Rejoice. Oh, hell, I want to know how that black skin is made. It looks like he starts off with darker flesh tone, obviously like black or dark brown. And then at one point, he's adding a slight bit of turquoise into it. So it's great, creating a bit of a bluing. And I think it looks like he glazes it at 1 or 2 points in the process. I don't know if it's a color mixture, or if it's just like one color filter on the entire thing. Like he builds up the color and then gives it a thin glaze over the entirety. Let's see here. One picture. Because you can break down what he has done here. Like for example here, yeah, let's zoom in a bit. Can we zoom in? Oh, good. It's gonna work well today. Yeah, because see, I can see brown tones as well as I can see, at least on my monitor, I can see that slight turquoise. And how it looks to me, like he could have started off with a really dark gray, almost maybe black, and then built up with, like, say, using a light flesh tone, and then possibly at one point threw a glaze on, and then, because it looks like the final highlight has a like the way I perceive the color, it looks like a uniform color filter over the entirety. At least how that looks to me. Yeah, see here. Or maybe it's just pretty much how I would accomplish a similar type of thing. I would start off with, the dark flesh tones, build up to a light flesh, and then if I wanted to throw that slight blue cast into the flesh, I would do it as a final glazing, as a thin glaze over the surface. Yeah. Because something tells me that he wouldn't, like, I'm looking at that shoulder, and something tells me that he wouldn't like mix that color as he built up to it, because it doesn't look like that. It looks pretty uniform. That slight blue cast, that turquoise cast on there, it looks pretty uniform, and I think it was like one layer over the entirety of that flesh to knock it all down. It's really interesting. But anywho, yeah. But that's how it looks to me anyway. If I was to take a stab at, how he went about doing that. I don't know. Is Scott here today? Scott, you here? Scott. Scott. REZIAL, I really like the green mohawk. Yeah, see, I'm not crazy about the green mohawk. I think I'd rather something else. I think it would look better if it was an off blue, or even an orangey red, orangey yellow, or even if it was done just like white, like an off white, like it was his hair, but it was dyed, like it was a bleached white kind of thing. I think that would look kind of cool. Oh, Scott is here. See, I knew if I kept calling his name, he'd show up. Oh, man. Dr. Xantos, whose post was that? I want to replicate that skin on my things, on your things. Scott, it was Scott. Scott Radham. That was his email. Hey, just tuned in. Skin is black with rust added as base, lightened with ivory and white. Okay. So was it just a tinting of turquoise over? Is that what you done? Like at one point you built the skin up from the dark tones up to a lighter tone, and then gave it essentially just a glaze of turquoise. Is that what the? Because that's how it kind of looked to me. It looked like you built the color tone up, and then just gave it a shift over to the turquoise side of things. Oh, excuse me. Anyway. Aaron Seach looks good. I would have brought it up from a dark brown, but still great work. Perfect skin color if you were painting a dark elf. Yeah, dark elf would be a good one too with that one. Ebb and Flow. Scott, you were asking about adding some turquoise as a highlight, correct? Scott Radham, no turquoise added. In the original I ripped off, Ben Comets adds turquoise and it looks good, but I didn't follow it too closely. Oh, I thought you said you added turquoise to it, because I could see that slight blue cast in there. Where does that slight blue cast come from? You just threw in blue, or... See, now there's a... Now you got to explain yourself. Or just follow Ben's guide for it. I would assume it's probably something that Ben has behind his Patreon paywall. I would assume. I don't know. I like Ben's painting though. Ben's a really great painter, and he's a good dude. He's funny. He's a good dude, and I also owe him a beer. Next email is from our good buddy Sean T. Hello, oh monkey lord. I decided we need some Eldar love around here, so I'm sending you some pics of a commission I just finished up. It's that Scorpion 2 you spied in my workspace pic. It's standard tabletop level. I think the paint scheme is kind of funky, but that's what the client wanted. It's based off some weird anime ship. The client didn't want any highlights or shading either, so I just gave it a base coat of paint and some panel lines. Most of it is done with an airbrush. Hope all is well with everyone. Cheers, Sean T. And so we got some Scorpion love. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. Oh man, see. I know, first world problems. Here's one of my dilemmas. I like the canopies. I like that orange. I want to get one of these Scorpions. I already have a Scorpion, but mine's a Type 1. It's the old school one. I love this Scorpion, and I want to pick one up. But I'm torn. It's either this or a Revenant. This is a little bit cheaper than a Revenant, but I still want one of these. One of these Scorpions are just too damn sexy. I love the low profile of it. On my blog a long time ago, I posted a side-by-side comparison. Whoa. The Meeseeks fell. Why did the Meeseeks fall? Oh, because Bob fell. Why did Bob fall? Bob fell. Bob fell. It scared the shit out of me, by the way, folks. I like the flat color. Especially on big pieces like this. I like the chevron, or the design on the hull. The bright gold. Got a little bit of color fade going on in the barrels. I like that. I like that ivory. Yeah, it's very, very minimal, but it feels very clean. And like everything about Eldar, you can paint them up clean, you can paint them up messy, and it looked fantastic. I really like this color scheme. It's very nice. I like that gold. It's a nice deep gold. Oh, is that a solid bar in the cockpit? I didn't even notice that on the other picture. That's a band of color there. Oh, very, very cool. I honestly, I don't get any familiar vibes from this, so it's probably not from an anime I'm familiar with. Um, but yeah, I like the solid color though. I mean, yes, it could use some highlighting. Yes, it could use some shading. The gemstones could be picked out, highlighted and such. Yes, those things could all happen. But, you know, you did the right thing. The customer wanted it a particular way, and if they're happy, that's all that matters, right? And this looks really kick-ass. And if this is what the customer wanted, I mean, then I'm sure they were ecstatic to get this. This looks really good, though. I like it. And yeah, we don't get enough Eldar love around here, and I like it though. Yeah, you may notice Bob fell over. I don't know. He's loaded. He's loaded. But thank you, Sean, for sending that in. Awesome stuff. And yeah, I mean, if your customer was happy, that's all that matters, right? And yeah. Oh, it's based off Yamato. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. It's Arpego of Blue Steel. REZIAL. In all honesty, it looks very clean, very nice and clean. Yeah, I like it. Bob had too much to drink. He might have. I don't know. I think he was leaning against my bobblehead, and he just said "fuck it" and fell over. Yeah, Bob just said "fuck it." I've been watching a lot of Bob on Twitch. There's a channel on Twitch that is like does marathons on the weekends of Joy Painting, and yeah, I tune in. I just zone out and watch that shit. Just zone right the fuck out. Just yeah. Dave Dooge. You referring to the cool anime series Yamato about the ship, space battleship, or the World War II Japanese warship? It's an anime, so I think it was Yamato. Yeah. Sean Thompson, there happens to be a Yamato in that one too. Yeah. Grim Battleship Yamato. I never watched it, but I've heard aliens are going to attack Earth, so they'll bring the Yamato up from the seafloor and retrofit it to be space-worthy. Sure, as you do. I mean, that's the plan, right? I mean, if aliens attack, that's what we're doing. We're going to the bottom, of the Pacific, and we're going to find all these old battleships, and we're retrofit them to, have guns and such, because, that's what you do. REZIAL, hey Kris, why did you become such an Eldar fan originally? Did you ever say? I have probably talked about it many times. Since Rogue Trader, I've collected Eldar. I just like the playstyle. I like the background. I like the models, the aesthetic of the models. And when you're getting into wargaming, especially Warhammer 40,000, it's good just to start with models you like that look cool to you. That's advice I give all the time for anybody out there who's, looking to get into this stuff and, doesn't know where to start, right? What looks cool to you? Tyranids, Necrons, Eldar, Space Marines, you know what I mean? Whatever looks cool to you, whatever background you think you like, and, all these factors, then start playing those. Don't worry about whether or not if it's a good army or if you're going to win games. Don't worry about that crap, because that is transitory. It's, as the rules change, armies become more powerful than others and blah, 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 So stay with an army that you like. And if you want to collect multiple armies, then by all means, do that. So I've been playing Eldar since Rogue Trader. And I, at one point, around second edition, I got rid of, as I used to paint them up Altiok. I used to paint all my stuff Altiok because in the Rogue Trader book, and in the compilation, which had all the Eldar rules in one book, Altiok was predominant. And I used to like all my Eldar at the time were painted Altiok was a strong blue with the black tiger stripes on the yellow, right? Which later becomes Uriel's Raiders kind of thing. But otherwise, yeah, that's how I painted up my Eldar. And then I got rid of those Eldar, sold them off. Sold off Blood Angels because I was collecting Blood Angels as well at the time. Sold those off. The second edition rolls around. And I started getting into Chaos. And with Chaos, I went Orcs. And so for a lot of second edition, I was playing Chaos. A little bit of Eldar. Because they were real fun. And a little bit of Imperial Guard. But then Imperial Guard also used to get proxied into my Chaos as well. And near the end of Rogue Trader as well, I was also doing Chaos as well. Because I used to have like a whole whack ton of the the old Rogue Trader Space Marines, and I did them as Luna Wolves, which was just black armor with a little moon symbol, right? And so because I also had converted up, I don't know if I still have the model. No, my brother-in-law still has the model. He still has my original conversion for Horus. So anyway, second edition rolls around, blah blah blah. Third edition, I started collecting like Tau and Tyranids, because they started getting more flushed out type of rules, and there was newer sculpts for them, and I loved the new sculpts for the Tyranids at the time. I used to love the Hive Tyrant. It was total alien queen, right? Like the aliens, the queen that has the big crest on its head and everything like that. Totally my jam. And I did that one up as close combat. I had it dueling, two scything talons and everything like that. And so it's at that point around third edition, well, late second edition, because I was still collecting some Eldar stuff because I was kind of redoing Eldar, and the Viper had come out, or the Falcon Grav Tank. Falcon Grav Tank came out, and I painted that as Samhan, and then the Viper came out, and I did that as Samhan, and yeah, that was around like I always equated around like 97 is when I started going back to Samhan, and I started painting all my Eldar Samhan. And then, at some point, I decided to get rid of the Tau, the Tyranids, and just strictly collect Eldar. And Forge World had come around, and I bought the Scorpion, the Forge World Scorpion. I bought that when that came out. And so, because I went to the Canada Games Day, and I was like, oh yeah, definitely have to get the Eldar Scorpion, because I wanted one. And we were playing a lot of big battles at the time. There was no Apocalypse rules at the time, but there was, guides for playing big battles. And so, of course, gearing my Eldar army towards big battles, that's when I said, screw it, and I got rid of all my other armies, and I just strictly concentrated on Eldar, because I was building it up for Apocalypse style games. And then Apocalypse came out, and I was like, oh my god, and then yeah, that's it. So I've just collected Eldar since then, for 40k. I've tried to get back into like Space Marines because I'd like to do a Crimson Fist army. I just no, and it was around third edition with the Tau and the Tyranids. I was having fun with those armies, but I always end up going back to Eldar, and so I prefer playing Eldar. It suits my playstyle, and yeah. It's I'm an Eldar player, man. I play Eldar. Ebb and Flow, Kris, you shouldn't have asked Mr. Meeseeks to bring Bob Ross back to you. He did the best he could. REZIAL, yeah, that's how I felt about Black Legion Terminators and Assault Marines. Just love the old models. Yeah. I'm kind of like you in that I collected lots that way. I am unlike you that I haven't gotten rid of anything. LOL. There's just a collection tour in the future for sure. Yeah, I'm. You have to purge. You have to purge every once in a while, because otherwise you hang on to all this shit, and it's just gonna sit there, and it's just gonna weigh on your brain. You're just gonna be sitting there going, oh yeah, I gotta paint this. Oh right, I still have this to paint. Oh man, I haven't painted this in years. Oh, I'm never gonna get to that. But you still end up hanging on to it. And it's like, why? Why are you hanging on to shit that you're never gonna do? Like sentimentality. It's going to look like an episode of Hoarders in your hobby room soon enough. And there's plenty of you, I know, because I was there at one point as well. I've purged my collection many times. Do I regret it? Sometimes, because there was a lot of great pieces I had that, but I honestly, I never would have thought of, in the far future, still hanging on to these things that, I was never really that forward thinking as far as that was concerned, because there's always the possibility that I got out of the hobby. I think that's what it was, because, this is just a hobby and you can enter it and leave it at will. You're not tied to this in any form or fashion. And it's only in the last 10 years that I've even taken this kind of stuff seriously. You know what I mean? Like, once I started painting, once I started working for Mini Wargaming, I was like, okay, well, yeah. Obviously, once it starts becoming like a job, then you start taking it a little bit more seriously. But in the past, it was just toys. It was just toys. And I'm not that attached. Just not. You know what I mean? As the expression goes, if you truly love something, you can let it go. And I truly love my little toys, but I can let them go. So, REZIAL, Kris, you should paint a 5 or 6 model kill team of something you have an itch for. Would make a good video series too. I could. I've got enough models in my collection that I could start a kill team of pretty much any faction, I think. I've got Necrons, I got Orcs, I got Space Marines, got Imperial Guard, got Tau, got Kroot. Kroot kill team would be fun. I don't know, is there like a whole just Kroot army? Because Kroot would be fun. I would love to do something more with Kroot. Because Kroot, the background for Kroot are just too fun to go anywhere with. I don't know if they're that restricted anymore, but anyway. I'm trying to think what all the 40k stuff. I got Space Marines, Chaos, Eldar, Tyranids, Orcs, Necrons, Tau. I don't have much Sisters stuff. So Sisters, yeah, I'd be a little lacking. But yeah, I mean, I could do a kill team of any faction, really. Old Man Logan, yes, sentimentality. Don't judge me. A Necron 1. Because of you, get rid of OOP stuff and then miss it in the future. You can never get it back. 8th edition for life. Sure. You know what I mean? It's live in the now. It's live in the now. Right? Live for now. Don't live in the past. Don't worry about the future. Right? What is going to be is going to be. And if you're having fun now, then enjoy now. Right? But yeah, for me, I mean, this hobby, like painting miniatures, wasn't a life. It wasn't attached to my sense of artistic ability. My art is my attachment to artistic ability. This is not. Which again is why I flip back and forth on whether or not this is art. And yeah. REZIAL, I will say my extremely large collection is actually getting finished over time. I'm not letting it sit and waste space. I rotate armies. I play a lot too. Sure. But again, I mean, I told myself sticking to one faction and just building up to a large faction, was the idea. I was, at the time, I was really into the idea of, for example, if I wanted to take any kind of configuration of the army. So, for example, under the old rules for force organization, I had basically, I could take 2 of any HQ choices. I could take 3 of any one particular elite choice. I had 6 troop choices that I could fill to the max capacity of. 3 fast attack, any one choice for that. Heavy support, you know what I mean? So on and so forth. That's the way I was gearing my army. So I was buying, I would have 6 20-man unit guardians. I would have, 9 Vipers, 3 Fire Prisms, I'd have 6 Wave Serpents. I would have, 9 War Walker squads. You know what I mean? Like, I just would have the max for whatever the allotment for Force Orc was. So that if I wanted to take an army where I had just the HQ and I want to take all War Walkers and, 6 troops, you know what I mean? Like, I had that kind of flexibility. But then Apocalypse came around and I started, going for the bigger models, Titans and, the big super heavies and stuff like that. And I liked that stuff because it was different and it was unique. And you don't see a lot of it on the tabletop. And that's why I really liked it, because again, I like to keep things a little bit fresh. And the Air Force, the airplanes, the Eldar airplanes, I just love. Nightwings, the Phoenix bombers, and the Vampire. The Vampire is just too damn cool not to get one, because the thing is a goddamn Klingon bird of prey. Paint that bright green, and that's a bird of prey you're playing with, right? So it's just too damn fun, And so why not? And because I was not collecting every model that was coming out, I had money to save towards buying those big models. And so, yeah, and all my Forge World models are legit Forge World. All my airplanes were bought from Forge World. My Scorpion was bought from Forge World. I bought that at a Games Day, when they brought Forge World over to Canada, because shipping from Canada at the time was really annoying. And yeah, but anyway, yeah, so I like it. Apocalypse was my jam. Still is my jam. I still like Apocalypse. I like the idea of the big battles. I would love for Epic to make a return, especially in a larger scale. Would be cool. Just so there's a little bit more detail in those little tiny little guys, little space marines running around, just a little bit bigger, would be really, really cool. And the thing is that I didn't play a lot of Epic back in the day. I played a lot of Titan Legions, but I didn't play a lot of Epic. So, yeah. Ghost Starman Deluxe. There are Kroot rules. They were in a White Dwarf. I don't know if there are any in the big books, though. Interesting. Yeah, because doing a Kroot kill team would be kind of fun. Because that would be a point where I would, if I was going to do a kill team, that's where I'd probably do some converting and, stuff like that is some kill team. Just be too much fun, Again, it's kind of, just find, your jam, man. It's just find your jam, what appeals to you. And outside of Tau, which are kind of fun, I still enjoy the aesthetics of Tau, because it's kind of like Eldar, where they have flat angles with curvatures, but it's in a different fashion. It's more dome shapes rather than negative space, right? So I like Eldar in that regards, and with Eldar, there's a lot of asymmetry involved with Eldar, which I like, because it adds to the whole sci-fi aesthetic, and it's just different and it looks cool. Whereas, for example, like Space Marines, it's a lot of symmetry. A lot of Imperial stuff has a lot of symmetry, and orcs are kind of chaotic. They can be a lot of asymmetric, but it tends to be more kind of slapdash, garbagey kind of things. And it's not really my aesthetic. I'm not really into orc. I used to collect orcs, but they were more of an auxiliary for my Chaos Forces, It was the Orc Artillery back in 2nd edition. I loved the Orc Artillery. It was just too much fun. And so, taking some Orc Artillery as an ally was, just too damn tempting, because it was just too much fun. The Hop Splat cannon was just too much fun, because it was a cannonball that just bounced all over the place, hitting stuff, and it just demoed whatever it hit, if you hit anything. That was too much fun. Oh, and the Buzzer Squig. You're throwing Buzzer Squigs into the armies, which is too much fun. Oh, and the Shock Attack Gun back in the day was freaking great. And Rogue Trader was fucking hilarious, because it would kill Terminators and stuff, So it used to be hilarious. Anyway. One more email. Let's do a jingle. Let's do a jingle. If you're wearing headphones, turn them up or down, but we're doing one last email, so here it comes. Email time. Email time. This one is from our good buddy Firedrake18. Hello, Kris and monkeys. I started working on the big fellas last night, just regarding his Gellerpox, and also made some changes to one I sent in last week. I didn't get too far. As you can see, there are a lot of spots that need to be cleaned up. I've been trying frick, I can't read. I've been trying some slight variations on the color scheme. The one with the cleaver I saw on the internet, I really like the skin tone. I think they should tie in together along with the smaller guys. I was thinking I might use metallic silver for their eyes. Ooh, interesting. Any suggestions are always welcomed. Thanks in advance. Fire Drake 18. So let's have a look. Oh, for the love of God. Yes, reload. You schmo. Oh, for the love of God. Hold on. Are you serious? Are you serious? I have to put it in my password. This happened another time recently, didn't it? Where I had to put in my password again. Weird. Weird. I think it's somebody trying to get my password. I think somebody's listening on my line. And so here are the Gellerpox. I like the big tentacle-y thingy. That's cool. The cleaver. Yeah, cleaver looks rusty. Looks like you're going to get an infection with that. I think I would definitely recommend spending a bit of time knocking out mold lines and such. I see it looks like a little nub on that shoulder on the one guy. But very cool. Yeah, I like how you're adding the little pinker tones around the pustules. Oof, the dude with the tentacles, man. That's gross. Yeah, I like the belly. Buddy with the cleaver. Definitely very cool. Using the metallics for the eyes, I think is very fun. You definitely could use a, if you have any of the old glaze, the clear glazes, or even the, like the gemstone paints, you can apply that if you want to do like a red, glowy red eye kind of thing, or even, using like the old yellow glaze, apply that on top of the metal. I think going with a metallic on the eyes though is a really good idea. Definitely can bring some color variation, some life to these guys. I like that you did the fly in the same tones as your arm. I think that's very cool. Yeah. Yeah, some cleanup. I mean, I definitely like the transition you've got going on with that scythe arm on the guy on the far right there. I definitely like that color transition you got going on there. It's nice. But yeah, I think if you're going to stay within this color palette, stay within the color palette. And, the whole thing about staying within your color palette, yeah, I like your glazing on the belly too. That's good. The challenge of staying within a color palette like that, whatever it is, that or anything else, it definitely forces you to be creative in how you employ the color and where you put color, right? It gets you, it puts you into the right headspace of thinking about the interaction of color and how much color should be on the model, especially with how, when you're looking at a tabletop setting, how you want that army to read in regard to the rest of your army, because you also have to be that kind of forward thinking in your application of color in those regards as well. So, it is an excellent exercise in, color and staying within your theme for that color scheme. So that's really cool. So awesome stuff. No real suggestions other than, again, just be mindful of those mold lines, stuff like that, because again, those can throw the viewer off. But if you're doing this for tabletop, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal, right? It's not a huge deal. But just, if you were looking to get a little bit more serious about, how you're applying your technique onto your miniatures and applying it to the entirety of your models, doing it right from the start helps you way down the line, right? Because, you can always look back on these older models and go, oh, I wasn't quite sure about how I did this here. How I do it now is better. Maybe I'll go back to some of these older models and I'll retouch up some of these highlights. And, because that's also where, keeping a notebook, especially if you're doing a lot of color mixtures, keeping a notebook of what colors you use for whatever projects will help you in the long run as well. So keeping a notebook, keeping a journal is a good idea as well. Aaron Seach, bring back Epic and bring back BFG, please. BFG, I was just thinking about this one the other day. Or was I talking about this the other day, about BFG? maybe it was last time we were talking about this. I would love to see Battlefleet Gothic come back. I like a full reiteration of the current miniature line. I would like to see plastic models. Everything's plastic. I'd like to see all the factions represented. I would like to see larger ships, become a little bit bigger on their stands, and I think the stands could be more like Aeronautica, and in fact, a play style of the grids. I think would be fine, or hexagonal, whatever it is. I think that would be cool as well, because I think it would be cool if they did it like hexagons, so that it looks like a tactical display, and you had the ships, and the ships could look like just tactical representations. Oh man, like here's an idea. Now it's kind of gimmicky, but here's an idea, okay? And if Games Workshop, you're listening, which I know you're not, but if you were, if the models were cast in, say, a clear plastic, say clear blue, clear green, clear red, clear purple, clear green, you know what I mean? And just variations of clear, so that a person could assemble the models, and even the stands, maybe the stands were in a clear as well, so that your entire premise of the table was to look like a tactical display. But you could also paint the ships if you wanted to, because they're just clear plastic, right? But that also affords you a really excellent opportunity to illuminate those ships, to have all those little pinpoints of light, right? So if you illuminated the miniature, that's why I'm saying make the ships bigger and out of plastic, and then, yeah, that would be freaking cool, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be an awesome idea? So if you had colored plastic, you could just right out of the box slap them together and play a game, and it looks cool because it looks like you're looking at a tactical display. But if you wanted to paint it, boom, you could paint it and it would look cool because it's just styrene plastic. You can just paint it or leave parts clear, right? But if you're leaving parts clear, why not light it and have all the lights coming out of those ships, and you know what I mean? And man, my God, there we go. BFG. I think that would be kick-ass, because the first thing I think of, for anybody who played like Battlefleet Gothic on a computer, and if you watch the cinematics, or if you even look at how the ships, like for Eldar, you see the solar sails have translucency, and I love that. That's how I imagine those solar sails on the Eldar ships. And so if those models were cast in a clear plastic, that would be freaking cool, right? And then of course, if the entire thing was clear plastic, and you could illuminate it, and you could have all those little points of like the little windows illuminated, what a visual experience that would be to play the game. Like, wouldn't that just be freaking awesome? I think that'd be freaking awesome. It's a lot of work, but it would be freaking awesome. REZIAL. I played a lot of X-Wing, and I have to say the movement system is superb. It would make BFG extremely fun. Yeah. Mike Grimshaw, BFG was my favorite GW game. I am worried it would bring it back. They would drown it in a constant book release like they've done with Blood Bowl and Necromunda, but they would still get my money. Yeah, Necromunda, I'm fine with how Necromunda is, and even how Necromunda was updated. Because I used to play Necromunda back in the day, and getting Necromunda now, yeah, I like the new version of Necromunda. I'm fine with how this all works. It is a little bit more streamlined, but it still has that complexity that old Necromunda had, which was like 2nd edition Warhammer, which I like. And Battlefleet Gothic, if they updated it and kind of streamlined some of the points of it, but still kept the core mechanic very similar, I'd be okay with that. Titanicus, it's different than the old Titanicus, so, but it's it seems to run very well. That a lot of people seem to be playing it. I would play Titanicus myself, but I'm not interested in any of the models. You know what I mean? I want Eldar. Excuse me. Oh man, I tweaked my back earlier this week. Some of you might might be wondering like why video production wasn't quite as high this week. It's because I tweaked my back earlier this week, and I freaking coughed, and I just got a jolt. Ugh, I fucking hate back pain. Anyway, enough about my problems. Yeah, so like, you know, if they tweaked Battlefleet Gothic and they upped the scale just a little bit, you know, because they always said like the stands that the models are on, that is more like the representation of the ship, because the stem is supposed to be like the space that, you know, the ship is occupying, and then the base of the ship was the area of effect that could affect that ship, right? So an explosion would be in that sector of the ship. And really, the ship on the end of the actual model itself was just a representation. It was just more of an icon for the ship. It wasn't the actual model, because everything was stem to stem. Everything was measured stem to stem, which I liked, because I could get behind that, because that was just a visualization of what you were dealing with. It wasn't like you actually had to measure, you know, miniature to miniature or hull to hull kind of thing. It was, you know, stem to stem, which is very uniform, because there was only, you know, small sizes and large sizes of bases, and that all worked. And within that confines of that system, the mechanic for everything worked very well. And that's why I think, you know, you could still play Battlefleet Gothic today and it all works out very well, because it was a, you know, pretty clean, efficient type system. And you know, I'd be okay with a slight update, but keep that core mechanic in it. Where am I? Aaron Seach, torpedo markers and blast markers in that clear orange and yellow. Yeah, see? You're on. See, Aaron, you get it. You get it, man. You get it, right? Yeah. And even like give us the little ship tokens and have like little miniatures in clear. You know, those can be even clear, but those can be solid plastic as well. But having the torpedoes as actual miniature, or even as just a clear bit of plastic, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. REZIAL would be sweet if they could make a sprue like Bandai does with multiple colors and clear parts as well, a much finer type of plastic sprue as well. Right. Well, Bandai, I mean, like, they're so well practiced in the art of the sprue that, yeah, I sincerely hope that we see more of that kind of work for Games Workshop sprues. Where, you know what I mean? Because they're always pushing this ease of use. And so why not give us sprues that a person could just take a Space Marine and just, you know, snap it together. But whatever is supposed to be gold is already gold. Whatever's blue is already blue. Whatever is red is already red. You know what I mean? And you just slap it all together and boom. You know, just like a Bandai sprue, right? You get a tactical Marine sprue. And, you know, of course, it's going to be in the default Ultramarines, right? It's going to... I mean, it's a fact of life. And, you know, the armor is blue. Bang, you slap all those parts together. Oh, the shoulder trim is going to be, you know, maybe you can do, you know, gold or red or whatever, right? And you can just slap those bits on. Oh, the gun's going to be a red casing, so it's red casing. You know, oh, the metal bits, you know, the gun and, you know, the, you know, hoses or whatever it is. You just slap them on and they're already that color and bang, boom, you're done. And you don't even have to, you can assemble an entire army really fast like that and be playing and it look good on the tabletop. And that's always the point that everybody's always stressing. That's why we're always stressing for painted armies, right? That's why we're always stressing for that, because the game has such a visual appeal, because as you and I are playing together, we're engrossed with this whole thematic experience, because it's, you know, this, you know, it's a visual experience. And you know, and when somebody else is watching and who may not have any experience in this is watching it and goes, Jesus, this looks like freaking fantastic. This looks like a lot of fun. What are you guys doing? And, you know, and of course, if everybody's enthusiastic about it and doesn't treat that outsider like an outsider and says, whoa, hey, buddy, look at, this is what we're doing. But oftentimes, and this is where I get really upset with fucking nerds, is that when people who are not in the experience with this, and they come in and they're watching the game go on, they always got kind of look at them like, who the hell are you? Oh, get away. Oh, let us play our game. You know what I mean? And, you know, they're so dismissive of new people. You treat them like noobs and, you know, talk down. And, you know what I mean? It's like, Give me a fucking break. And that's where I get really upset with all these fucking nerds. And I just want to punch them all in the head. And so if you're around and you're being real dismissive to somebody who's brand new and who looks like they could be really excited about something like this and could be a brand new person to play with and experience, and I see you doing that kind of shit and you're my presence, I'm going to punch you right in the back of the head. You'll get a donkey punch. And then, yeah, I'll stick my dick in your ass. Oh, shit. Anyway, Dr. Zantos, my dad has had back pain all day. Oh, I know. It's like since I coughed, I feel it in my back right now. It's not going away. Finlay Robertson. Hi, Kris. Hi. REZIAL. Yeah, Kris, I feel that way about Aeronautica right now. Orcs and regular Imperial isn't exciting enough for me. Needs Eldari, needs Astartes, needs Nids. Yeah, Nids in Aeronautica? Definitely. Like, you start opening up all those things, in those, those box games. Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the Tau, I might get an Aeronautica. This latest edition of Aeronautica, is it even out? I don't even know. Is the latest rendition of Aeronautica out yet? I have no idea. See how close I follow this shit, right? Sorry, I'm going to the website right now. Let's go to the site. Aeronautica. Let's go all Aeronautica. And I see Orc Flyboys. I see... No, that's it. Just Imperial shit and Orcs. Where's the Tau stuff? I thought the Tau stuff was coming out. Or was that all like the pre-order shit? And it had to have been all the pre. Disappoint. Color me disappoint. Anyway. Robert Finlay. Did Gothic have fire arcs? Yes, it did. Yeah, ships had front arcs, side arcs, and back arcs. Because like orcs could fire behind them. Whereas like Eldar only had front arcs. Well, like the big ship had side arcs as well, but just everything for Eldar only had fired in the front. And whereas like Imperial and Chaos, they're predominantly side arcs. They had front arcs, but they're predominantly broadside type of stuff. It was like naval type of thing. It's naval games in space, right? Excuse me. That's what Battlefleet Gothic is. It's just navy in space. But yeah, I would love to see that for Battlefleet Gothic. So, if Games Workshop is listening, yeah, they're not. Because they wouldn't tune into my craziness. Oh, man. REZIAL. Dr. Zantos, Kris about to get wild. Ruben, that escalated quickly. Aaron Seach, what the fuck? Did I just hear donkey punch? Yeah. You'll get a donkey punch. Being rude to people like that, like, this is supposed to be an inclusive social hobby. This is a social thing. War gamers, it's social. This is like 90% of it is social. And I see you being rude to people. Oh yeah, you're gonna get a donkey punch from me. Donkey punch. And you'll get treated like a bitch. Ebb and flow, and just like that, off the rails. Finlay Robinson, try and remember when you first saw a fully painted game with fully painted terrain and it blew your mind, and that's what the noob standing by your table is feeling. Exactly. That's exactly it. And it should always be inclusive. You should always include people. When people are standing by and say, hey, how's it going? Yeah, we're playing some 40K. It looks pretty cool, right? And they're like, yeah, you know what? That does look pretty cool. And you know what I mean? You should always be including new people into this fold. Why? Because new people brings new blood, new imaginations. They're going to pick a new faction. So, like, for example, for any of your closed gaming groups, everybody's tired of frickin' Space Marines. And then this guy goes, you know what? Maybe I'll play Tyranids. And you're like, yeah, you should totally play Tyranids. They got this great, and they monsters and eat faces. And you know what I mean? You should always be encouraging people in these regards. And they might be really fantastic at painting. And then you know what? And then you got somebody who's in your gaming group who you guys aren't fucking getting your models painted, and you're like, this guy paints all the time, let's get him to paint our shit. You know what I mean? You can convince me, well, if you paint Squad of Space Marines for me, I'll buy you a Tyranid special character. Okay, great, I'll get that done. You know what I mean? Like, it's win-win when you're introducing new people to this. It's always win-win. It's never a bad thing, unless of course they test positive for COVID and they infect your gaming group. That's the only downside I can see. But otherwise, you should always be encouraging new people into this hobby. It should always be. In the gaming, the painting, the hobby itself, just enjoying this hobby. Like, sharing your enthusiasm. And if you're really negative about it, get the hell out of my face. Go away. I'm not interested in you. Go away. Because that's the kind of people that give this hobby a bad rep. And they're usually the smelly fuckers too. So they're usually the kids that smell bad and give a bad rep. So they can fuck off. Go wash your ass. Go wash your ass. Learn some fucking manners. Come back when you're gonna be an adult. So anyway. Captain Let's Dance. Oh, love the name. Captain Let's Dance. Let's dance. Hey everyone. Hi, Captain. Old Man Logan. So, okay, to be a racist asshole, free speech, but nerds being mean, donkey punch and anal rape? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you're going to get from me. Donkey punch and anal rape. Lazy monkey. No, never. No new people in hobbies. Eek. The basement is dank and damp and full of cobwebs and loneliness. Yeah, exactly, right? Finlay Robinson, you ever looked at Drop Fleet Commander? It's basically gothic from what I hear. I was Drop Fleet Commander was near the end of it was new coming out when I was more interested in Drop Fleet Commander, like the tabletop, it was more like epic kind of thing. And I had a passing interest in it. I was considering picking that one up. It just looked really good to me. And so I've never played a game of it. I don't even know if I've ever watched a game of it. But it is interesting. And what was always interesting to me was that it was one guy orchestrating the whole thing. And then I seen he had done a display piece. He had made one of his ships like in scale, like a huge ass scale of one of the ships. And I thought that was super impressive. I remember watching that on YouTube, and he was doing those. And yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Is he still going? I don't even know if he's still going. I imagine he's still going. But yeah, or did he get bought out? I don't remember. Anyway. Roman Matnoff. We have a great guy in my community, organizes events for new people and gets us old dogs to mentor their games. From list building to actual game. Some of the most fun times I've had with hobby lately. That's awesome. That's awesome that you have a guy like that. Hang on to that guy for as long as you can. People come in and out of this hobby, but people who are really enthusiastic and can orchestrate and organize the community in your local area, you hang on to those people and you support them when you can, because yeah, that's really awesome. That's really awesome. Aaron Seach, episode 292. No lube with that donkey punch. Well, you don't have to lube up a donkey punch. No, you don't have to. But yeah. Ruben Matnoff, the best part is it's always full of signups. Yeah, that's awesome. Because again, that's why and Games Workshop knew that early on. Because that's why when you used to go into a Games Workshop, the staff was always very enthusiastic when you went into the place. They were always, yeah, oh great, and and it got you really excited. But because that enthusiasm passes your enthusiasm, because you already walked into the store, so you are already, curious about this and possibly, swayed to get into this thing. And so somebody who's really enthusiastic about it can totally tip your scale as far as getting into something. You know what I mean? Like I can get you into bass fishing if I was super enthusiastic about bass fishing. You know what I mean? Like, if you are already showing up at the river going, what's this all about? You are already almost there. And if somebody super enthusiastic and made it very entry level friendly for you, you're in. You were sold. And you're into the world. And you know what I mean? And all it takes is that one person taking your hand and guiding you into the world. And yeah, that's all it takes. It's all it takes. Just some enthusiasm. Ghost Starman Deluxe engages nerd lisp. Wow, it's not even. It's not often we see a woman in the game store proceeds to stare at boobs until she leaves in disgust. Yeah, that kind of shit. I mean, yeah, that's another one. That's another trope. But again, if you have a good gaming group, a good community, and everybody is respectful of each other and everybody's being adults, because again, this hobby is not for kids. It says right on the box, it's not for children, right? Let's grab. I don't have a fucking box around me. Where's a box for the fucking models? But you look on the boxes, right? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna grab a box. Oh, fuck, back. Oh my. All right, that's here. Okay, this I grabbed just some 40K shit. Still in plastic wrap, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, 12 plus. Right? This is not a toy. It's not a toy, and it's not for kids. Yeah, definitely not for babies 0 to 3. No babies. I should make that as a button. No babies. This is a fun little thing. I've been meaning to do something with this. I haven't done anything with this. This is the objectives, Sector Imperialis objectives. Sometimes I get really tempted to pick up a Realm of Battle set, like the Mechanicus one or the Imperialis, and just go ham and just pick up like a whole bunch of that stuff. But the thing is, though, again, like, why would my Eldar army always be fighting an Imperialis sector? Like, fuck that. There's other points. They need to update some of those Sector Imperialis. They need to make one that's like Tyrannid. They need to make one that's Chaos. They need to make one that's Orky. They need to make one that's Eldari. They need to make one that's, well, they already got the Imperial. And then kind of generic, right? Well, they already have one that's kind of generic. It's just hills and, area like that, right? But, yeah, I mean, I imagine those Realm of Battle sets kind of pricey. So, yeah. Anyway. Where am I? What time are we at here? Holy crap, it's already after 2? Well, I already did all the emails, so I can just end this right now. In fact, goodbye. No. Yeah. Anyway. I can't remember. Man, did I go off on that whole kicking nerds in the head thing too long? That's just me sometimes. I just get, I get really annoyed by fucking little entitled pieces of shit. I get fucking annoyed by them because they weren't smacked around enough, and I blame this whole anti-bullying thing. They got to bring back bullying. Finlay Robinson, not sure about the ass fishing, Chris. No, not ass fishing, bass. It's a type of fish, bass. See. We might be getting to the root of some problems. Bass. I'm sure most everybody heard that. Or maybe Finley's making a joke. If you're making a joke, haha. Ghost Star Medic. So I finally looked up what Donkey Punch is. That is not what I expected. Oh shit, REZIAL. In my region, I've never run into an inappropriate, creepy behavior towards people because of race, gender, or what have you. I have run into bad hygiene and bad attitudes, though. Well, unfortunately, bad attitudes, there's not much you can do there. Because, people are going to have their attitudes towards whatever. Some people are just negative anyway, right? And so that's kind of unfortunate because it brings the enthusiasm down a bit, right? But bad hygiene, that can be fixed. Yeah. Lazy monkey. Nope, it's not what you expect. That's the point. Dr. Xantus, thank you for the stream today. Well, you're welcome, Doctor. I'm not quite done yet. I should end it now because I'm getting hungry, actually. Maybe that's why I'm getting angry. Yeah, it kicked in about a half hour ago, too. I started feeling hungry. Old man Logan, geez, all over the place today. Bring back bullying. Yeah, we got to bring back bullying. It's this whole Darwinism thing. We see Darwin. Just if you're not familiar with Darwinism is, and the Darwin Awards, yeah, look that up. We're in that. You hear about those people who self-medicated and the poor husband died and the wife almost, and, they say, well, studies show. Yeah, it was one fucking study. The vote, the jury's still out on whether or not that what is it, chlorochlorine or whatever the fuck, that chlorochlorese shit as a possible, like, that's just ridiculous, and it always seems like, we're hearing about agendas, so anyway. Ghost Starman, Kris, are you calling Darwin a bully? No, but bullying, okay, bullying is never good, but how our society currently operates is with hierarchy, and bullying was one of those facets. And, whether or not hierarchy is a good thing, well, I mean, wolves have hierarchy. There's an alpha male, alpha female, and then you often have an omega, and then everybody in between, and social standing. So, well, how does that alpha establish being alpha? Well, usually kicking a few asses. That's usually how an alpha isn't born that way. Alpha isn't born to be an alpha. They often have to kick a few asses. Same with the alpha female. The alpha female has to kick a few asses. And so, sometimes you need to kick a few asses to establish order. And there's not enough ass kicking going around. Every once in a while, your life gains perspective when you are in a fist fight. Your life gains perspective. And when you've dealt with a punched in face, your life gains perspective, and what matters to you gains perspective. So, yeah. Lazy Monkey. After picking something that's a pool cleaner with the similar name, not the best choice. Yeah, exactly. But again, it's kind of cruel, but it's Darwinism. It's environment. And, for those of you that subscribe to the idea that this is a man-made epidemic, it's run loose. It's run amok. It's not under anybody's control. So, that's why this feels more like a natural environmental thing. And humanity has been running amok. And this might be the thing that reorders the scales, right? There is that side of it as well. Sir Peanut Butter, that couple didn't even take the right drug. They drank aquarium cleaner. Yeah. So I suppose it's even higher level of Darwin Award. Yeah. Like it's unfortunate that people have to die like this, being misinformed. And that's where, information, and that, like I was saying at the beginning, check your sources, right? You hear something, check the fucking sources on it, And if you are of a mindset where, well, it's this left side or it's right side, it's right or left, stop. Just check the fucking sources. Check the fucking sources. Make up your own mind. Lazy Monkey. I've never really gotten my ass kicked, but growing up there were with the sure knowledge that certain things would lead to getting my ass kicked, led me to avoid doing those things sometimes. Right. And, like that's what law enforcement, and that's what the prospect of jail is supposed to do, right? Oh, we're going to go to jail. You do that, you're going to go to jail. And that's usually your ass kicking. That's usually most people, that's all it needs. That's all it takes, right? But some people, no, they need to they need to get your ass kicked. It's kind of like anybody who's a parent and has more than one child will realize that, some kids, you can just tell them not to do something. And some, no, they need to be slapped on the hand. They need a more serious punishment to reflect it, to reinforce those ideas. Some you do, some you don't. It's individual. It's case by case. So, some people need their ass kicked. Some people need an ass kicking, and not enough ass kickings go around these days. Now, I'm not advocating that everybody start kicking their kids' asses. Not unless they need it. Heretic Scott just made some homemade B-Day cake. Good old Victoria sponge. Interesting. Send me some. Aaron Seach, a little research goes a long way in today's world. Definitely. And I highly recommend that, especially for any of you that do a lot of social media stuff, especially like on Facebook and whatever, don't automatically share, these things you see, because oftentimes, they're created by bots. At least from what I've seen, it's bots. And especially if it's something that's supposed to provoke a response from you, if it's telling you about something that, you are going to get upset about, most likely it was created by a bot and it's being perpetuated by bots. And that's all it's designed to do, is provoke you and to engage you. And that's what they want, is they want you to engage on their platform, because it keeps you on there longer. And, you don't, when you are in some sort of online argument with somebody, you have no fucking clue if that's a bot or not. You know what I mean? Like, come on. There's a great series done by a guy on YouTube, Smarter Every Day. And he's done one about social medias. And I highly recommend y'all watch it. Especially for those of you who, are conscious of these kinds of things. I would highly, highly recommend it. I shared a post on my Facebook not too long ago about, he had done about Reddit. And he had done one about YouTube. He had done one about Twitter. He had done one about Facebook. And he had recently released one about Reddit. And yeah, I highly recommend it, man. Smarter Every Day. It's good. It's a good channel. I like the dude. I don't agree with everything about him, but he's a good channel, and he's making people aware. Where am I? I have no idea. Ghost Star Medalix. If I recall, some guy tried to ride a jet ski off a waterfall and some shit, and you wouldn't think he would kick the bucket when he landed, or you'd think he'd kick the bucket when he landed. The actual electrics got damaged, and he got electrocuted in midair. What? I'm not even sure what that sentence was. I'm not even going to read it again. I don't get it. Ghost Star Medalix. Big brain time. Yeah. Dr. Zantos, sauna time. Be seeing you later. Later, dude. Yeah, so I think at that point, we are going to end her there. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Hopefully, we kind of learned something. Hopefully, the emails, thank you for everybody who sent an email. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I don't know if we learned a whole lot today, but yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I got nothing else. It's just me working on projects lately. Trying to get stuff done. Actually, I didn't even get project done yesterday. Some of you guys I didn't get any messages, so I don't know how many of you guys are tuning in for Twitch, but yeah, nobody messaged me about not doing getting projects done yesterday, but I probably might do one maybe today, or I definitely will try and get one done tomorrow. I want to get some painting done, because I've been working on this Lord of Plagues, and so I do want to get this guy done, because I think what I'll do is definitely when this guy gets done, I'll do another giveaway and give him away. So, because I don't need him. So, yeah. Heretic Scott, how's the tank coming along? What tank? Oh, the Walker? I haven't worked on that since last time. Same with the Gundam. I haven't worked on them at all. I've only been working on them, on video. So, whenever you see work getting done, that's when I'm working on it. Yeah. So, if you're brand new to this hobby, you want some help, or you want help with the color scheme, or, you want to show off what you're working on, send your questions to Kris@wayofthebrush.com. It's in the description below, as well as a link to wayofthebrush.com, central hub of all the silliness. Has links to Instagrams, Discord. Discord's been a big one. So join us on all the little social media stuff. Discord's been fantastic. Join us there. It's a good one. You'll have fun. There's a little something for everyone there. And of course, wayofthebrush.com also has links for t-shirts. Want to get a t-shirt? Look like a connoisseur of all that's good and holy in this world? They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. And of course, if you purchase yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt, and I will add it to the Monkey Shrine, which is also at wayofthebrush.com. Wayofthebrush.com also has links for Patreon support. I'm independent these days. This is how I keep this channel going. And if you want to help support these endeavors and these videos that I create and all this silliness, consider Patreon support, because that's, it's a way of doing it. So up there, Another reminder for myself to put one of those little cards up there, in case you want to click the link or not go to the description. Whatever you want. There's many ways to, get you to the Patreon. Huge thank you to all my patrons who currently support me. Without your support, this channel would not survive. And so your support is needed. If you're not able to support monetarily, clicking thumbs up, liking, following, subscribing, sharing the video, all those things, those all interact and, help the algorithm so that the video gets to more viewers, more eyeballs, so that, more people who are considering support, can see it as well. All it takes is a couple clicks of a button and you're helping me out tremendously. So big thank yous for everybody doing that. Big thank you to Carl, aka Guy Muir Allfair, aka Beer and Blood Bowl. That's his YouTube channel. Check him out. If you love yourself some beer and you love yourself some Blood Bowl, Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. Always take time. Thank Carl for taking time out of his busy day to create the email jingle that plays before the email segments of the show. As always, much love for Carl. And of course, much love from my brother, Evan, for creating the intro and outro music that plays beginning and end of the show. Always much love to him because, he's a talented individual. And, I really wish he would do more with his gifts. But anyway. That's it. Jabba's Left Nut. We lent that you Donkey Punch hates and give love to noobs. Yes. Donkey Punch the hate. That's what it is. Donkey Punch hate. That's it. You see hate, Donkey Punch it. Noobs, give love to noobs, right? New people, give love. Donkey Punch the hate. Jabba's Left Nut. My girlfriend is going to donkey punch me for not being able to write a sentence. Yeah, so donkey punch out the hate and give love to noobs. That's it. That's the message of the day. Give love to noobs. I don't know where any of that is going. It sounds crazy. It might be the kind of shit that gets me committed. Who knows? But I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I need something. I'm getting weird.